everybody, and welcome to the New England Winter Cup for 2026 here at 1UP Games. My name is HB Bowsy, and I'll be your main caster for today. And to my right for right now is Mr. Knight here on the cast with me today for the first portion of this tournament. How are you doing today, Knight?
Yeah, doing pretty good, Bowsy. Excited to be back, one in the United States, two here with you, with you and then Dave off camera here to my right. I'm really excited to be getting into some Winter Cup action. I believe we were last here in June or July or so, shortly after the game came out. So it's been a little bit of a 5-6 month break, but excited to be getting to the action and see who takes the crown tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a very enthralling tournament here today here for the Winter Cup, our second Mario Kart World Tournament here at 1UP Games. Of course, the first one, as you mentioned, the New England Summer Cup back in July, basically when the game first released.
Yeah.
It's now been 6 months. The notepad is now full to the brim with a bunch of different notes, strategies, every sort of way that you can find success in this game. I'm interested to see how these players have adapted since that first tournament and who's going to come out on top today.
Yeah, and I genuinely don't remember. Do you recall who won that tournament back?
That's a very good question. I can go check
I don't know if I know William Prix took a win at some point, but I don't believe it was him. But
yeah, I can go
maybe
check.
It was Dash. There's a lot of names that you generally tend to expect when you're here. But I think the interesting thing, like you mentioned, Bowsy, though, is, and you're dead right, like at this point, the game has been established now for about 5 to 6 months, and they're going to be seeing new levels of tech that I personally haven't seen. I am a newbie when it comes to World compared to 8 Deluxe, where I have a lot more knowledge. And yeah, it looked like Dash did take that. So no Dash in attendance today. That is the storyline. So Awoken, William Prix, they are definitely going to be some players to keep an eye out for. They finished 2nd and 3rd respectively. And here's the entry list as well for today's event.
Yep, only 8 players here for this event. Of course, the winter cold may have affected some of the driving getting in here. But regardless, still going to be a pretty fun event. We have newcomers coming in here as well, especially Flappy Cat and Fallen coming in here to the East Coast. But you also have some usuals. Again, you mentioned William Prix and Awoken, in addition to Val and Ember, regulars in the Mario Kart world scene, or at least in the Mario Kart competitive scene, all trying to show that they can take home a trophy here and take the first trophy here in the East Coast or the Northeast for Mario Kart World.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing when it comes to this entry list is who's been putting in the time since the game was released to be able to master that tech. I think the biggest favorite there is Awoken, but kind of going through that group of 8, I mean, Flappy Cat definitely appears to be objectively the youngest. We do have lots of other players that could be maybe shrinking their skill gap or have maybe improved since we last saw them back in July. So I think it's going to be very exciting to see what's going to play out here. Fallen is the player that has traveled the farthest from like the DMV region domestically. And yeah, I'm also like, 12 hours fresh off of a plane from Portugal and Spain. So fortunately, I'm not playing. I'll be playing in Knockout Tour, but it is cool. It's a small but a very mighty group of 8. So really curious to see how this is going to play out.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll get into a little bit of a format here as we start to get in here. We're starting to pick the tracks. A lot of interesting tracks being picked here. Koopa Beach being one of the ones that I'm surprised about seeing this early. But the format is going to be, we're going to do 2 sets of 12 races with a break in between, and then a knockout tour portion afterward that we're going to be determining how many points we get. Because based on your finish in the knockout tour, you can get a score multiplier to add on to your score. So yeah, just because we have ties at the end of 24 races doesn't mean we have ties at the end of the day.
It is a very interesting format. So yes, like you said, 2 sets of 12. We're starting right here. And then it's going to go into that multiplier-based knockout tour. We're here with Big J. This is one of the Mario Kart stadiums, if I
this is Mario Circuit, the normal layout. So Mario Circuit in this game has been transitioned into a section-based circuit where you run 1 lap on each version of Mario Circuit. That is Mario Circuit 1, Mario Circuit 2, and Mario Circuit 3, all from the SNES. And already Big J trying to take that lead, but you already see Darren already moving in with that Toadette. William taking a little bit of a back approach here with triple mushrooms in their main.
Yeah, and that's actually another entrant, too, we didn't talk about yet. Darren coming from, I believe, like the Wii side, held some world records, and now coming into World, had a very phenomenal run there in July. And I remember it was a big rival to me, so really curious to see how Darren is going to be playing out here. So we are on lap 2, or section 2 of 3, rather, and we do have Val here in 7th. and a little bit of control up there from Darren and some of the others like Big G up in the lead.
I will say Val's looking a little bit crabby to start off, but hopefully their mood will change as they go along. But the final lap has already begun here on Mario Circuit. William Cree starting to run away. Darren getting hit out there by that swoop, getting hit again. The back spam hitting him right on the stretch. You hate to see it this early, but it's just going to be William Cree running all the way to the bank. No, they're not. It's a Woken coming in with the
horn
and the horn, swooping right in and taking that win. William Cree will settle for second here. It's going to be Ember back there in third as the Peepa. Fourth place is going to go to Fall, and then Val, Big J, Flappy Cat, and Darren rounding out the field.
Yeah, shout out to Nerd Prom in the chat, Suave, and then also Sparkling Image Car Wash, New England, greater than the rest of America. That could be objectively true, except weather-wise, I would disagree.
Yeah, weather-wise,
historically, and in every other aspect, yes, maybe.
Counter argument: Minnesota's worse than New England in terms of weather. So.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I was talking about.
My bad. I was clutching my slush puppy because they do offer slush puppies here, but no, Dave was actually referring to because I had to get that out of frame.
We do. I was talking about trophies earlier. Yep, that's one of our. That's our third place trophy. That's for the knockout tour. We also have ones for Grand Prix as well. We have a silver trophy for this Grand Prix. That's your second place trophy. And then, if you thought it couldn't get any bigger, you were very wrong. This is the first place gold trophy. Banana for scale. It's about the size of one. It's about the size of one.
And there's 6 total. There's those 3 sets, 2 sets of 3 for both tournaments. So pretty exciting to see who's going to be taking that down. So also, we got Fallen in the Bitty Bug, Flappy Cat. There is Daisy. Big J going to be Baby Mario. William Cree as Nabbit. Darren is Toadette. Awoken. There is that Lemmy? No, I'm not sure.
Awoken is let's see. I saw Awoken.
And then we got Ember's Peep,
No, Awoken, I believe, is the swoop, because they were the one who literally swooped in.
Oh, swoop, yes. Yep. And Val's going to be the crab.
Yep. And then I mentioned the crab earlier, but we're going to head over to race number 2. Dino Jungle is the pick. I've heard mixed opinions about this since the game has launched, because the biggest problem with this track that I've heard is that there is only one shortcut, one major shortcut. It's that mushroom cut inside of the Dino Laboratory. And if you don't have a mushroom, you're basically done. So
yeah, I think this track also has some more advanced tech. I heard something called the Tarzan cut, and I saw it once and my mind was blown. I don't necessarily think we're going to be seeing that out of this lobby today, just given the the skill level isn't ultra crazy, but also too because the 8 players really is going to be throwing a wrench into things in regards to item distribution. I
like you said we wouldn't see the Tarzan cut, and I'm pretty sure I just saw Ember use the Tarzan cut there for a second. So you never know. Anything could happen. But again, as I mentioned, the mushrooms are very important here. You already see a lot of people taking that wide shortcut there, taking the corner very tight in the laboratory, and just skipping an entire portion of a track. Mushrooms are crucial here on Dino Jungle, because if you don't have a mushroom in that section, you're going to lose so many spots.
I'm thinking of the Acorn track. Don't mind me, guys. I have 20 hours on this game.
Yeah.
Completely different track, completely different cut. You're right. So it's only going to be that one cut to the side.
There are some cuts you can do there by where that dinosaur is walking. Fallen is going to demonstrate that, where you can ride upon the wall and take a bunch of high cuts. But that's really all you're going to have here on this stage. Right now as we speak, Awoken currently leads the field, leading a parade down that shortcut. William Cree has a star to be able to make their way through. But it's going to be interesting to see if anyone decides to pull any of those power items, because the big thing is the power items can really make a difference. And if you can remove some of these mushrooms toward the later stages, that means no one can take that shortcut on the final lap.
Yeah, and I'm not sure we're going to see anything super crazy with 8 players in this lobby. We got Ember and Big J controlling the back as well as Val, but we do see a shot come into play. So clearly there is something there. And it looks like it might have come from 6th or 7th, the way Big J is driving here in 8th.
Yeah, Big J was the one who popped the shock, popped it immediately here. But that's gonna start throwing up this field for a loop here, especially because now the people in the front no longer have those mushrooms. Now it's gonna be Val with this golden shrimp, and just look at how much space they try to make up. Isn't gonna be able to catch up to anybody, unfortunately, but still the power is there. Being able to have those mushrooms compared to everybody else, you can try to make up ground in some ways. Take, for example, the fact that William Cree was towards the back. I got a mushroom, took the cut, finished up in first.
Yeah.
Second place, Fallen. Third place, Ember. We're starting to notice a trend here.
And Awoken got hit off camera out of first, going down to 6th. Flappy Cat with a solid top 5 there as well. So William going to be taking the win there, now taking the provisional lead by 4 points over Ember, Fallen, and Awoken.
Yep, and we're already seeing 2 3-way ties right now in the middle of that group. 3 tied for 12, the other 3 tied for 6. So I mean, overall, it's been a pretty interesting tournament to see how these players are approaching these sort of tracks, especially with such a limited pool of players today.
And that was more of a racing track, a little bit less technical. So maybe we're going to be seeing from some of these players that are time trial fanatics more technical tracks. We'll have to see what comes out, because again, there's a 1 out of 8, so roughly a 12.5% chance of your track being selected, assuming everybody's picking a different track, of course. So we'll have to see what plays out. Again, 24 races, and it was confirmed by Dave, who heads PlayEX, and also our lovely broadcast today, that the track picks will reset in between the segments. So from races 13 to 24, you can go back to the same tracks if you wish from this initial group of 12.
Yeah, so if you really want to play Koopa Troopa Beach twice, like Ember is currently choosing, which, first off, he's a madman for picking Koopa Troopa Beach in this room. Second off, you can. If Koopa Troopa Beach gets picked in the first set, you can pick it in the second set. But we're not going to Koopa Troopa Beach. We're going quite possibly at the exact opposite of Koopa Troopa Beach, a war zone, which, actually, never mind, Koopa Troopa Beach is a war zone. Airship Fortress is the next track here on the list.
I want to know why people hate the track so much. I picked it in July, and I got, like, death threats borderline. So we'll have to see. Yeah, Airship Fortress, Ember coming out here third. I'm really going to be curious to see where Ember finishes. Talking to him before the tournament, doesn't really have a lot of hours in the game here for the vibes, but obviously, top 5 finish in the summer. So we'll have to see what's going to play out here. But definitely, I'm expecting some good things here from Awoken and William Prix for sure. Flappy Cat's been doing pretty solid with some consistent top 5. Needs some more upper spot finishes to stay relevant here early.
Yeah, we'll see if Flappy Cat's able to catch up here as this race goes on. Airship Fortress is another one of those very technical tracks, especially in that first half. The second half, however, as long as you're holding drift and holding left, then you're basically fine unless you get hit by an item here. Right now it's Darren up at the front. William Cree trying to get back on their back bumper, but Darren is going to be hogging up this rail with those triple bananas. And again, I mentioned the technical skill. That's exactly what's being showcased here, using those jumps on the rails. William Cree going to pass them, though, on the inside rail. So now it's Darren and William, both with triple items, battling it out for this lead here on Airship Fortress.
Yeah, and especially with both of them having trips in the top 2, they really have to respect their spaces. William does lose. One of them opts to back Darren with the other, but now it's going to be a little bit of a game here, especially if Darren does have more than 13 coins, where that drafting is going to come into play. But Ember and Fallen want to get into the mix as well. Very narrow corners. Ember goes down. Shock comes into play from 6th or 7th. Bill coming in from 7th. That's Val. Yep. Pretty crazy stuff here, Valby.
Yeah, and the Bill is absolutely super powerful here on Airship Fortress, because as you just saw, it will go through the entirety of that tower. If you activate at the right time, you are not going to be let out in the middle of that tower. So it is a massive advantage to have a bullet Bill, especially toward this last lap here. Now already messing up a little bit, though, but right now it is Ember in second. William Cree currently leads, and Fallen gets sniped down before they make a pass.
Yeah, I also got to wonder, too, some of the intangible things, like Fallen coming in on the train today from DC. That's like, what, at least 7-8 hours on the Amtrak, assuming all goes well. So how are they coming in, feeling in this event after a busy travel day? William Cree, can he hang on? Red coming into play, but a huge gap. It's going to allow him to limp across the line. Battles for second, and it goes to Awoken.
Yep, Awoken going to take that second place. Looks like Ember yet again finishing third here. It seems to be a common trend for Ember to finish third in these races here. He's going to be Fallen getting fourth. Darren, as you saw, got fifth. Val, unfortunately, getting sixth. Slappy Cat getting a sixth place. But
yeah, Val 7th.
Yeah.
Big J in 8th. Fortunately, not able to recover as much. So William up by 6 over Awoken. Things still kind of staying the same in regards to the margin there. But, anything can kind of happen here with so many more races to go. We'll have to see what's going to play out and what track gets picked next.
Yeah, definitely. Again, that track pick can make a difference, because sometimes you want to go to a chaotic track where item luck could be in your favor, like Koopa Troopa Beach. But other times you want to go to a technical track. Maybe you want to try to go to Bowser's Castle, or Acorn Heights. You mentioned the Tarzan cut. Maybe even you want to try to make everyone in this room mad and go to a connector track. Make it so we have to endure the highways to get over to a different track.
Yeah, you go for the psychological play. I think I did that last tournament, too, and people were really disliking me for that. But, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And I'm a masochist, so.
The good news is they have at least updated some of the connector tracks from
in a recent
Koopa Troopa
update.
Beach.
Yeah.
So they have made adjustments to some of them, but some of them are still bad. But regardless of which, looks like our next track is going to be Mario Bros. Circuit. The first track in the game is our 4th race of the New England Winter Cup.
As you can see the scores there on your screen, it is going to be a 6-point lead for William right now. We're going to have that other segment of 12 races coming up after this. We're only a third of the way through this first segment of 12, and then we still have that knockout multiplier coming into play. So things should be pretty interesting. This is going to be a little bit of a wide track with that optional cut there, especially if you have a shroom or an item to be able to take it to future laps. We'll also have to see how that comes into play going into lap number 2.
Yeah, definitely. This is definitely like, I would consider this one of the better starting tracks because, like, it is a simple track by nature, but it has so many different ways that you can use it and learn all the technical aspects. Again, you mentioned that rail at the beginning. You can use a no-item shortcut to be able to get onto that rail and be able to make an advantage. Or you could just simply drive the track like we see most of the racers doing here right now. There are many places to make jumps, many places to make those cuts. This is the perfect epitome of a good beginner track that can be turned into an excellent expert track down the way. Right now, Fallen hitting toward the back, has a golden mushroom. William Prix has some mushrooms of their own here, but as you see, with these shortcuts, they're going to be able to take this rail, much tighter corner, much easier way to get across this first corner, and you make your way right up to the front fast. Speaking of up to the front fast, Val making their way up to the front with a single green to their name.
Wow, very physical there with Flappy Cat. Flappy Cat had that golden mushroom, kind of went a little wide, got those coins, used the golden mushroom through the cut. Val just completely disrespecting the younger players in the tournament there, taking over the lead here on lap number 2. Then we do see William and Big J trying to fight as well as Flappy Cat back in the fray with Fallen, and Val must have it out for Flappy Cat. That's 2 hits in the same lap as Big J and Fallen now taking advantage of that battle for first, now inheriting first and second on their own.
Final lap here on Mario Bros. Circuit. Again, once again, you see William Prix now taking that shortcut. Triple reds up at the front here for William Prix. Might have lost all of them, however. No, it's Awoken with the triple reds actually taking the lead here. William Prix hot on their tail, though. Anything could happen here on this final lap. It all comes down to these final bits of turns. William Prix trying to catch up, still has that point advantage, but here comes that blue shell straight for Awoken, not prepared at all, gonna get hit by that blue shell. Now William Prix in a perfect position to maintain their lead. Can they keep themselves in front of Fallen, who was right underneath them with that bitty bud? The answer is yes. William Prix takes first place on Mario Bros. Circuit. Fallen a close second place finish right behind them.
Yeah, Fallen, Awoken. It looks like Val may be able to get 4th or so there. Very unfortunate ending there for Flappy Cat, falling all the way to the back after getting just hit out. But Val 4th, Darren 5th, Big J. Ember getting 7th. That's going to be unfortunate for Ember, as now it's a 9-point lead here for William Prix over Awoken.
Yeah, William Prix just seeming to continually extend that lead. It's going to be interesting to see if these players are going to have what it takes to step up to William Prix. Again, I mentioned William Prix was 3rd place in the New England Summer Cup 6 or 7 months ago. So that's already a pretty good start here for William Prix. But the question is, can they keep themselves in front of Awoken, which, mind you, was 2nd place in the Summer Cup. So it's going to be interesting to see if those two are going to be the heavy front runners or if someone from the back is going to be able to come up. You know, Ember could definitely make an impact, and Ember was 5th place. So you already have 2, 3, and 5 already trying to fight it out for those top spots.
Yeah, I mean, even looking into, you know, the top 12 from last time, I mean, there's no Kane in attendance, no Embarrassment, no Aqua Twist, Kyoya, Bowser Boy Bento, Ginja not here from New York, but again, there's like a crazy amount of snow here. And then Squash and Dash, you know, not able to make it. So this is really going to open the door, and this is going to be a huge statement as to who is going to be taking the crown here for the Northeast. And it's really in the court of Awoken and William Prix right now.
As we head over to our next race here on the Great Question Block Ruins, this is another track that has that technical skill aspect here. Big J unfortunately hitting the burnout to begin, but that could be really good here because the first item you can pull will be a mushroom, probably. There we go. The mushrooms can be very helpful on this track, especially if you want to take some of those shortcuts here. Great Question Block Ruins was one of the more famous tracks when the game first released because of all of the shortcuts that you could pull off. Darren hopefully going to be able to show exactly what I mean here as they make their way over to the rings over here. Uses the mushroom, jumps on the ring, goes on the cloud a bit for a little bit of extra boost, and that's not the intended direction that they were hoping to go for.
Darren, a little bit of a time trialist, definitely, you know, one I would expect to be able to master some of this tech. Obviously, in a racing condition, it is much more difficult to do. But looks like right now it's Fallen in the lead. And then we're going to have William Prix and Awoken up there in the mix there in the top 3.
Yep, Awoken and William Prix currently seem to be battling it out for the top 2, but William Prix might have just fallen off, so they already lost a lot of that momentum. So Awoken's starting to run away with the lead. We'll have to see again. Great question mark Ruins. It's all a matter of just hitting these shortcuts perfectly. One mess up, and you could be seeing yourselves out the door. Prix trying to catch up. Use those triple bananas to try and block people off from the cut. Can't even take the cut themselves. They don't have the resources to. And there's a shock dodge coming out from Ember
Huge
here
from
with
Ember.
the star. Triple red shells in hand as well. They are going to be handily trying to take that lead away from Awoken here as we enter the final lap.
Yeah, and this is huge for Ember. Sees the lack of defense. Awoken going to be hit, but now a red coming in for Ember, and Awoken, wow, looks like a little bit of a dodge there, and Awoken gets hit with another red from the pull from Ember. Wow, incredible luck there on that item pull, Bowsy.
Yeah, definitely good to have that red shell in second place in an era where second place red shells are very rare. But unfortunately, with great luck comes great misfortune. The blue shell now in play, and Ember is the first target. Going to get hit by the blue shell and surrender that lead yet again to Awoken, starting to run away with that ultra shortcut here on Great Question Block Ruins. Perfect execution. Darren going to be trying to take that position away as well here with the shortcut themselves. Ember there in the mix, but it's going to be Awoken eventually making their way up, using the glider. Ember missing the glider thanks in part to the red shell. Awoken does get knocked out, but has the momentum to cross the line. Do they?
Darren took it.
They fell off the map at the wrong time. Darren steals the win away from Awoken there, thanks in part to the red shell.
And Ember falls all the way back to 5th after Darren's red hit him over the glider. So, wow, incredible recovery there. Darren stealing that one. Awoken second. And then also there were 2 players there. I believe it was William and potentially Fallen that kind of took advantage of that misfortune there from Ember and Awoken to be able to get 3rd and 4th respectively. Incredible.
Yeah, definitely. Really, I mean, that just shows
already being clipped here on the side.
That just shows the amount of intensity that comes with these tournaments, because you never know what could happen. From like on our perspective there, it looked like Awoken had the momentum to be able to cross the line, and unfortunately, they just didn't. The red shell hit them and seemed to hit him off the map on Darren's screen, but we don't know if that was the case or not. But
I think Awoken was trying to go a little bit to the left, trying to get that shorter gliding line maybe, and then just underestimated the distance. But, it's physics. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, still about, I don't know if it's 12 points because we only have 8 players, but only, I believe, 2 points off of first, so not an incredible loss there for Awoken.
Yeah, absolutely not here. As we head into our next race here, it's going to be Far Away Oasis, a random track. That might be an intermission track. Yes, it will be. So our first intermission of the day. The good news is no one actually deliberately picked this. This was a random pick. So put down your pitchforks, everyone. But it's going to be our first intermission of the day.
I love these slush puppies, by the way. Just gotta say, I'm not sponsored or anything, but here we go. Yeah, and this is the cool part about these intermissions is, it's going to be a little bit more straight. It's going to allow some of these players to maybe pick up some points on some of the leaders that are mastering a little bit more of the tech. And we'll have to see how it plays out. A long way to go here, as you can see by the map. A long straightaway going into that final lap, that final section there in what will be lap or section number 3 to determine the winner here.
Yeah, as a reminder for these connector tracks, people call them intermissions, connector tracks, highways, whatever you want to call them. They are, the main premise of them is that you race to the next track, and you do 1 lap around that track. So in the case of here, these players are going to do 1 lap at Far Away Oasis. Second section of this race begins now. As Prix trying to make their way up here, the big thing is you're going to see a lot of people try to go toward the back, because when it comes to these items, as long as you know the shortcuts for the destination track, you are almost all set for the race. So some players are opting to go to the back, try to get those power items, and then make their way toward the front. Others, meanwhile, are trying to front run, as we see here Val and Fallen doing exactly that. So well, it'll be interesting to see who gets the best advantage of this as we head into Far Away Oasis. Duly noted that the track enters in through this ramp. You go through the hairpin turn twice on this configuration from Great Question Block Ruins.
Yeah, it's kind of like track cycling or even like speed skating, where you just kind of chill and relax up until this final lap where everybody pushes forward and makes their move. Flappy Cat here in 3rd. Awoken already up in 2nd with triple reds. Prix not far behind there, passing Flappy Cat there for 3rd. Ember 5th, Fallen 6th. And then we're going to have Big J there in the back and Darren in 7th. So Val by process of elimination in the lead, but maybe not for long with those double reds there from Awoken.
Yeah, but Val unfortunately misses the ramp cut. Ember using the bullet bill on the ramp. Fun fact, that is the only way you can get actually hit by a bullet bill in this game, is if it's used on a railing. But Ember heard that bullet bill, unable to get anywhere with it here. Gonna only go up to 3rd place. Gonna drop that bomb right before the shortcut, but that's a massive shock, and Darren dodges. Ember getting squished in the process, falling all the way back to 6th because of that lightning bolt. Not a good showing for Ember, but also not a good showing for William Cree, who actually got last place.
That's
the
huge.
Leader getting last, and now surrendering that
first.
lead to now be a tie.
Yeah, Awoken, Darren, Flappy Cat there. So now it is a tie between Awoken and William. Fallen in 3rd, only 7 points back. But that has now really opened the door here for this first segment as to who's going to be taking that provisional lead going into technically the second half of this tournament.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I mentioned, of course, like it seems like it's a runaway for the first couple races, but then one bad race can change the entire landscape of this Grand Prix. And unfortunately for William Cree, that's exactly what happened. Just not wrong place, wrong time for that intermission. And now they're seeing themselves now tied with Awoken, so they need to try to build up that lead again. Again, the more points you have, the more security you're going to have, especially when it comes to that knockout tour portion, because you finish in a bad position in knockout tour, you won't get as much of a multiplier as someone who's right behind you. So,
yeah, and that multiplier can determine, even if you're not fighting for the win, like a top 5 or so there's a lot that's still on the line there in that final portion of the one knockout race that we're going to have. We are going to be going to Sky High Sunday here, the recreated version, on board with Ember, who fortunately burns out, as we are going to determine here on this track who is going to take the outright lead. Is it going to be William Cree? Is it going to be Awoken? Or maybe they both have a bad race and Fallen can somehow end up in that #1 spot.
I can take a look here at Flappy Cat trying to make the tricks here on Sky High Sunday. Definitely much more different than the 8 Deluxe version. A lot more opportunities for tricks and movement across the board. As you're going to be heading right through the crates there for that brand new jump that was added in the Mario Kart World version. But definitely you're going to see a lot of tricks, especially here. You're going to start to notice some people going on that wall. That is a trickable wall. Of course, wall riding is a new feature in Mario Kart World. And you can just ride the wall and go quicker around that final hairpin turn. So we're going to see a couple of those here as we go along, but we're already 1 lap in. Ember's currently toward the back, but again, they started off in the back. They obviously are planning to try and be back here to try and make their way to the front later. Yeah,
William Cree front running. You can see the crown there on Swoop, which is going to be Awoken. Technically the Tide is the room leader, but won the last race, so that's why they have the crown. Darren up there along with Flappy Cat and Fallen in your top 5.
William Cree trying to hold on to the lead. Does have 1 mushroom in the reserve in the event of a blue shell. Very low tricks all the way to the edge of that apron, trying to gain as much speed as possible to keep themselves up front in front of Awoken, who is hounding them with these triple bananas, looking to try and take that lead away.
And it almost looked like Darren was getting hit from behind, but no, going to be taking the offense on to Fallen there, who did have a shell for defense, but Fallen is going to be falling off the middle of that gap. And now everyone chasing down William Cree and Awoken. The top 2 in the room are now the top 2 here on Sky High Sunday for now, but the blue shell is coming into play.
The question is, does William Cree still have that mushroom? No, they do not. Have to jump off the track instead. A little bit of a faster maneuver to keep themselves from getting hit by that blue shell here. Awoken is now going to be taking the overall lead in the Grand Prix. Darren will take 2nd place, while William Cree finishes up in 3rd. Val getting a pretty respectable forfeit, looks like. Meanwhile, the rest of the group, Flappy Cat 5th, Fallen getting 6th, Ember 7th, and JJ 8th.
Yeah, Flappy Cat trying to come into play here for that battle between 5th and 6th with Ember and Val. Fallen as well as Darren now in the battle for 3rd. And again, I believe it was 2 points for 3 points there, separating 1st and 2nd between Awoken and William Cree.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that's sort of a disadvantage you have to go for whenever you're making these sort of moves. The question is, do you take the risk? Do you try to use the mushroom to go over the cut? Or do you save that mushroom in the attempt that a blue shell happens? That's obviously some of the big questions you have to ask when you're making these. For William Cree, they had that question arise for them. They took the wrong one, and at the end of the day, they lost the lead because of it. But the good news is you still have plenty of time. That was only like race 7 of our 24 races here in this tournament. So there definitely is still room for William Cree to try and catch back up to Awoken and take that lead. But Now that Awoken has the lead, their focus is going to be trying to keep that lead as long as possible.
I'll have to see where we're going to be going next. A few Wario shipyards, but no, we are going to be going. What's this track called?
This is Dandelion Depths.
Oh, Dandelion Depths. Yes, so this is going to be like a little bit of a mixture. No,
it's
a
an
connector.
intermission. We're going from Sky High Sunday to Dandelion Depths here. 3-point difference right now between William Cree and Awoken as we enter race number 8. Again, as a reminder, after race number 12, we'll be taking a quick break, and then we'll be back with another 12-race set. But for now, race number 8 begins, and you already have Darren and William Cree using their cars like bumper cars at the beginning of the race, both vying for the food and the items at the start.
So we'll have to see how things are going to play out. This is the final race before the final GP of segment number 1. Darren kind of making a claim here with the battle for Fallen, I should say, for 3rd place. Really trying to set themselves up for a solid back 2/3 here of this tournament. But right now, Big J in the Ghost up to 2nd. Unfortunately, is the player in last for the moment, but overall, but working to get up there as quickly as possible.
Yeah, definitely. Big J trying to make some big moves here on this intermission variant. Is going to get hit by one of the red shells, though. I believe that came from Flappy Cat. Val getting hit by a stray green shell as well here, as everyone's trying to make their way past. I believe that's called the Chili. I don't remember if that's actually their name or not, but nonetheless, heading through the caves as they make their way over to the summit area. This is part of the longer intermissions. It is a 4-lap intermission, so you have 3 laps of road, 1 lap of Dandelion Depths. So it'll be interesting to see how these players are able to balance it out here as Ember trying to make their way up here. Has a little friend, I would say, in their pocket. So,
yeah, has a Ghost. The real question is going to become is, does anybody kind of in the back have anything powerful? The pack is incredibly close right now, as this is a 4-section based intermission, obviously with the final part there being a lap around Dandelion Depths. So we're going to be going through this winter section. Players just kind of setting themselves up for position here. Fallen losing an item there to the Ghost. And it looks like Big J up there in front, Fallen there in 2nd for now.
Yep, now it's going to be a matter of how can you use your power items effectively. William Cree already trying to do that. Their Golden Mushroom going to be used here to take that corner shortcut. Now as they make their way to these windy roads to get over to Dandelion Depths, there are a lot of right-hand corners here on this stretch because you have to go from the road to the highway to then the actual road leading in to Dandelion Depths. So a lot of different ways to go through here, but right now William Cree holding steadfast in the lead with double red shells to their name.
Yeah, Flappy Cat trying to do what they can there with the triples and connects with William Cree. Fallen, though, tries to go forward. It gets hit out, and Flappy Cat going to be kind of slowing the field down there with that bomb. And takes out a few players as a Bill moves into first. That's going to be Darren, and Ember going to take the start, trying to battle Darren up there for that lead here as we go into this final section of this race. Incredible racing between the whole pack. You could put like a needle between 1st and 8th right now.
It's you're definitely threading a needle between all of them, as now Ember and Awoken seem to be the top 2 here on the final lap at Dandelion Depths. Darren trying to make their way up, though, has the boomerang, trying to snipe out Val here, but is unfortunately going to be missing that boomerang shot here. It could come down really to these final 2 item sets. If one item goes in the way of one of these players, they have the chance to be able to steal this away. Ember triple greens in 2nd place. Val's going to be pulling one of theirs of themselves. But now it's going to be Darren using the Ghost with a triple red shell, being able to red out Val. Then Ember now going up for Awoken at the top. Darren, reminder, is 3rd place in the standings. They could make an impact here. They could be a front runner toward the latter half of this, but no mushroom in hand. The swoop of Awoken is so far away at this point, you're better off defending for 2nd place.
Yeah, the battle for sure is for 2nd. Oh, William Cree gets hit all the way back to last. Huge battle here for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Darren, Val, Ember, and then Fallen, or maybe no, Flappy Cat's in the mix as well. Flappy Cat might have gotten 4th.
Yep,
but
Ember
there was
gets 4th.
Nope.
So,
yeah, Ember 4th,
yep.
Flappy Cat 5th, and unfortunate there for William Cree going down to 8th. Huge gap now. That's going to be 11 points up for Awoken, and Williams only got 4 points over Darren, and then 8 over Fallen. So pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah, definitely. William Cree, again, we talked about having that lead, but now 2 back-to-back bad races with the person you're chasing getting the win. Now you got to really start putting your foot. Now you really got to start putting your foot down, because if you have another bad race, that's a lot more ground that you have to try and make up. And you really don't want to have to make that up in Knockout Tour, because that could be that could turn into a disaster. William Cree, if I remember, was one of the players who did not make it past the top 12 when it came to Knockout Tour. They didn't even make
there
it
were
into
some
the top
upsets
12.
last time, and
so this William Cree might want to try and might want to play him a little bit more aggressively here. We'll see if they're able to do that here on this next track.
Also, too, like I love Knockout Tour, but the weight's not that crazy. It obviously is important. It's like, extra credit on a test. You want to do it to really solidify your spot, but you really got to be making up these points now. Also, shout out to Brat for the 3-stream watch streak. Excited to see you, Brat, in Philly. And yeah, also, too, let's talk really quickly before we get in. We have another 4-lapper here with Rainbow Road. This is going to be a long one. Really cool, exciting events coming up. I know USMK is doing Catalyst in Philly, but also Dave, another big one, PeoriaCon in March in Illinois. That's going to be bigger and better, and also with Jackbox, I believe. So that's going to be exciting. So keep your eyes out for that. As obviously, like the early months of the year, front loaded with events. So definitely, keep an eye out for the PlayEX events on the website, and then obviously, in the respective Discord servers. So really excited there. Val. Oh, why am I looking at my phone? Darren's in second, and Woken's in first. Val was in fifth, but now back up to about third or so. But yeah, Bowsy, take it away.
Yep, Darren's going to be trying to hold on to second place here. Woken, meanwhile, trying to hold the lead right now on that swoop. Again, for Woken right now, if the more points that they can gain, the better chance they have of being able to take this entire thing. Again, as I mentioned, second place in the Summer Cup, trying to show that they do deserve that first place at the end of the day. Ember, meanwhile, toward the back. Again, the thing with Rainbow Road, it is such a long track.
Yeah, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And that's why, like, for me, I'm used to these quick bursts when you cast because of how we were trained with the old game. But to your point, Baz, like, these players really got to be patient and analyze the situation, take it slow. And for Fallen, really analyzing the situation there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how these players are able to do it. Again, you mentioned a marathon, not a sprint. This track averages 3 to 4 minutes long. It is one of the longest tracks in all of Mario Kart history.
Yeah, ever. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It actually might just be the longest track in Mario Kart history. So, definitely is a long track. It's really a grueling marathon. You need to be prepared for all of it. As William Prix currently up to second place. The shock is going to be coming out though. That was Fallen shock all the way toward the back. So we'll see if they're able to make an impact here as we head into the third section here. And the most interesting part about the Rainbow Road is that these fast cannons leading you from section to section, you already see how much of a distance Awoken has built up on William Prix just because of that cannon alone, but you'll see that distance immediately shrink the second William Prix lands on the space station.
And because there's a blue as well. But that's the other thing. Players cannot afford to let first run away. And I think players right now are giving, I think, Awoken a little bit too much leniency here. And luckily this blue should, in theory, bring Awoken back in, assuming that they cannot dodge it. But William and Darren, as well as Fallen, now going to be able to be the recipients of Awoken here, who is not able to dodge that blue and then kind of gap up the field once again here going to this fourth and final section.
Yeah, the only way Awoken is able to dodge the blue is by running off the map, which many pros have pretty much deciphered that running off the map instead of getting hit by the blue is actually faster. Because then you don't have that long period of which the blue shell is hitting you. Instead, you fall off the map, you respawn immediately. It is just easier here. When we head into the final section of Rainbow Road, it all comes down to this. Right now, still Woken in the lead, and William Prix was second, getting knocked out here by that triple red shell. Still going to be in second for the meanwhile, but it's going to be tight right now between William Prix and Awoken, considering Awoken, I believe, got hit by a red shell as well.
Yeah, but Awoken, though, does have that gap. Fallen been saving some pretty solid items, but the real question is, can they reel in first? Woken already has an 11-point lead over second place, and that's going to be Darren now. So can William Prix get a good finish here, catch back up? We'll have to see. Still a long way to go here in this fourth section.
Yeah, definitely. Again, we continually mention the phrase, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Rainbow Road definitely is a marathon here, as this next glider, thankfully, is the last glider. So the home stretch is abound here. Ember currently fourth, trying to make their way up. Fallen there as well, but there is the lightning bolts. Going to slow a couple of people down, but thankfully, because of the momentum, because of the way momentum works in this game, if you're on a glider, you just keep going. You don't lose any of your momentum. If anything, you only lose your items, and you get small for a little bit. But right now, you see William Prix doing everything in their power to try and catch up to Awoken. This final item set, the red shell going extremely wide, but up in the distance, Awoken has at least one piece of potassium to keep them protected. Awoken is going to take the win here on Rainbow Road, but William Prix, after 2 bad races, finally enters back with a second place.
Yeah, and Awoken opting to go there for that double, getting some guaranteed defense. William Prix opting to go for that shorter line around, so well done there by both players. And yeah, Awoken's going to take that one. Darren finishing fifth, So, yeah, William is now, it's actually still in second, rather, but it's a 13-point gap between the top two. Darren's still comfortably in third, but actually not so comfortably with Fallen. They're only down 2. But they did get a little bit of a gap there between that 5th place player.
Yeah, definitely. So it's going to be interesting to see how these points continue to tally up. I mean, the main thing to remember is that after this next 3 races, the points are basically going to be reset. So we won't have the exact same points, but we'll have them in our minds. Like, we'll have them down.
They're not going away. Obviously, they're part of the tournament, but
no, they're not going away.
Psychologically, they're going away.
Like visually they'll be going away, but they're still going to be entered into the data sheet as we go into the next set. So it's just going to be a matter of who's going to be able to keep that in the back of their minds. Like, okay, maybe I am in second place. Maybe I should keep trying to fight, because the big thing is the entire mentality reset.
Yeah.
Because now instead of being 20 points behind, now you're 5 points behind, or you're 0 points behind when you start up the set in that case. So it's going to be a matter of just, like, having to keep that mentality, like you are still good. There's no pressure right now. Just keep focusing on what you can do and hopefully find success.
And I think players, like, they're going to know, too, like, especially if they're fighting for contention, oh, hey, I need to gain, 10 points on Awoken, hypothetically, right? So they need to go into that second group, like, that second round, knowing where they need to be. Because also, too, I don't necessarily think Dave publishes the multipliers for the knockout. Maybe you do. Oh, you have. I believe you have. Yeah, it actually is on the sheet. It's in the spreadsheet. It's in the spreadsheet. I believe it is online. So
we'll be going over that.
We'll be going over that later. But players, they're going to have to be aware of how they can make up points here after this first wave of 12 races.
Yep, as we start here on Whistle Stop Summit. Again, this is race number 10. After this, 2 more races, and then we'll be taking a short break before the final set of 12. But this is another track that is heavily reliant on technical skill. Everyone has been working on these special shortcuts across this track, especially with the rails. There is the common rail shortcut that basically everyone knows here. It's going to be interesting to see who's able to pull it off here. We'll see Big J not going to be attempting it here to start off here, but you're definitely going to see some players do, and the players who are able to pull it off perfectly are going to be the ones who are going to front run this track.
And that would be Awoken, who has a massive gap there. Fallen creating a little bit of a gap there in that second position. Big battle here for third between Darren, Val, Big J, and others. But yeah, Awoken is already out to a massive lead here, and only a blue shell can really reel them back in.
Yeah, we'll see if that happens as we go into this set here. Val's going to be stealing one of the triple mushrooms from up ahead. But right now, it's just a matter of trying to fight yourself. Unfortunately, Whistle Stop Summit is also notorious because if you hit that rail on the outside, it is very difficult to get yourself off that rail. So you got to be careful about being able to keep yourself off that outside rail when you're taking that corner. Looks like Darren actually fell off, tried to go for the shortcut, missed it there. Now Ember's just going to be guarding for position here. They want to keep that second place right now as we head into the final lap. And as you mentioned, there's that blue shell in play here for Awoken. The question is, can they dodge it? Do they have anything to dodge, or are they just going to be running themselves right off the map?
I feel like Awoken may have been able to change dodges there, but no, not able to. Takes the brunt of the hit, but still such a massive lead. It does give them still a 5 or 6 second lead, where the battle does remain for second here going into this last lap.
Yep, last lap. William Creve dropping the bomb right at the end of the hairpin. They actually hit Fallen with that. Again, another contender that they're fighting up against here. William Creve just trying to defend for second. They know first is basically out of reach. Now it's just a matter of defending second, and with no one in their rearview mirror, William Creve going to be settling on that second place. Throwing
hitting
the back
Ember, by the way.
Ember falling all the way back because of that. They fell all the way back from third to fifth because of that group back spam.
Massive rally there from Flappy Cat with Darren and Ember, Val in the mix there. Darren, Flappy Cat, Ember, Val, that's third through sixth. Incredible racing right there, as now, there's a little bit of a break now between a lot of the players here in the room. Really, there is a little bit of a battle, though, for fourth and fifth, but it's just incredibly wild stuff right now.
Yeah, definitely. The intensity, again, is starting to ramp up. We're starting to find out our top players across the entire tournament. The question is, can you keep that momentum up for the rest of the tournament? You still have 14 races left.
Yeah.
And a knockout tour, which knockout tour, we've seen how crazy knockout tour can be. The last thing you want is to have have your tournament decided on knockout tour. That might be the situation that we're in right now as we get to see the track picks for race number 11. See some interesting picks here. We see Toad's Factory, which is a track that we've been kind of seeing consistently but has yet to get picked, as well as DK Pass, and the infamous Koopa's River Beach is still on the menu. And
we are going to be going to
DK Pass.
DK Pass.
Yeah, this is one of the tracks, again, that in the early days, people were starting to find the shortcuts for. But now, since the game has been out for a couple months, the entire strategy around this track has completely changed. There are multiple different shortcuts that you can take. There are a lot of different paths that you can use. It has definitely become a more strategic-based and skill-based track, so we'll have to see which player is going to be using the right strategy here on DK Pass. For William Prix, it's definitely not going to be the strategy of using your engine at the start because they continually seem to be burning out. I think their gas pedal might be stuck to the floor.
And as we're going in, we can kind of see a little bit of a break here in some of the pack. It's going to be Val and Big J up there at the front, along with Awoken. Darren here in 7th, as players are going off the track left and right. And now, actually, that's just created a gap for the top 2 between Fallen and Awoken.
Yeah, Fallen and Awoken fighting it out. Val currently 3rd. Darren trying to fight that 3rd place. Going to be sniping out Val with the boomerang. But now a blue shell this early in the game. Awoken is prepared for it, though. They're going to be using a mushroom to dodge it. As you see, 2 mushrooms in the bank, now 1. They were able to use one of those to dodge the blue shell. But now everyone's pulling triple mushrooms out here in the back. Ember has them. Flappy Cat has them. Darren has them. They're giving out mushrooms for free out here at DK Pass. Make sure you get them on your way to the slopes.
Yeah, maybe Oprah is somewhere around here. You get a mushroom. You get a mushroom. I don't know. I haven't seen her recently, but huge gap. Huge gap there for the top 2 still, as William Prix is now leading the charge in 3rd, trying to reel Fallen and Awoken back in. The real question is, do those top 2 have more defense to be able to withhold any power items, specifically a blue? As now things are starting to spread out. Val in the back. We see Big J in the back. Flappy Cat here in 6th.
Yep, and I mentioned, of course, like some of the shortcuts that the track is known for. Flappy Cat just demonstrating one of them using what you would call the winter Tarzan strategy, jumping across the trees, to be able to make their way up, dodging that boomerang not once, not twice now, just trying to keep themselves alive as the final lap of DK Pass begins. It is still Awoken and Fallen in the lead. Meanwhile, William Prix and Darren battling for that 3rd position, neck and neck, but the lightning bolt ruins their chance to taking the shortcut. Save for Flappy Cat. They fall into the ditch.
Yeah, Flappy Cat really trying to master that shortcut, unable to, as William Prix now moving in, but really the top 2 are unaffected. If anything, there's a little bit of a gap now between Awoken and Fallen up there at the front. William Prix trying to do their best to stay in 2nd overall, be here in 3rd, but really it's going to be Awoken's race to lose and Fallen's 2nd to lose, as William Prix right now is doing the best they can to hold on to 3rd over Ember.
Yep, Ember with that golden mushroom trying to make an advantage, but it's not going to be enough. Is only going to be able to satisfy with a 4th place finish here. Again, as you mentioned, Awoken 1st, Fallen 2nd, William Prix 3rd. It looks like it's Flappy Cat in 5th place, Darren then 6th, which, again, that's a pretty big move because Darren is currently the contender for 3rd place. Fallen now right on their bumper, 3-point difference heading into the next couple of races.
Yeah, 18-point lead right now for Awoken. Awoken's just sort of padding that and really giving them that position to go into this 2nd segment. The real battle is going to be for 3rd and 4th between Darren and Fallen. And also, too, Flappy Cat's kind of getting into the mix there with Val for 6th place. So that's another little bit of a battle you're going to want to watch going forward, too.
As we're going to be picking, I believe this might be the last track of this first set. I'd have to be,
yeah,
I'd have to
close.
check that here, but we're going to see what these players are willing to pick. I'm seeing a lot of interesting picks. Moo Moo Meadows, Boost Cinema, Acorn Heights, which is where that Tarzan strat can be used, and Bowser's Castle. A lot of skill-based tracks across the board here. Be interesting to see which track gets picked. It looks like we're going to be going over to Bowser's Castle. Definitely the definitive skill-based track across the entirety of Mario Kart World. This track is known for high skill gameplay.
Yeah, with the cut, going to be extremely interesting. And if this is the last race, the battle is for 3rd and the battle is for 6th.
Yep.
6th between Val and Flappy Cat, just for the time being here in the first segment, and 3rd between Darren and Fallen. So let's see how it plays out.
Yep, as we head into the final race here of this first set. Again, the first 12 race set is this. After this, we do a full track reset and go into another 12-point set. And as we mentioned, the shortcut, Flappy Cat almost hitting it a little bit too wide there at the corner, but you get the idea. Almost able to take that shortcut first try.
We've been corrected that Tarzan is on Cheap Cheap Falls.
Oh, yeah, you know, that makes sense. I now know what the cut is.
I don't remember the names, but I think I led you wrong, so that's a little bit on me.
It's fine, no worries. But anyway, Big J trying to make their way up here with the star, 5th place right now. making their way up as William Cree does get redded out by Ember. So now it's going to be a matter of all this close combat. And despite how we said this is a very skill-based track, a lot of these players just trying to fight their way forward right now. That is a very early lightning ball coming out from Darren, and a couple of people dodge that, including Big J and Flappy Cat now making their way up to the front. Fallen currently leading the charge here. Meanwhile, the rest of the pack just trying to find their way up to the front.
The Flappy Cat get to this cut looking pretty solid.
Solid, a little bit too wide again.
Too far to the left, but Fallen had a huge gap there in first. Actually, with Flappy Cat falling, that could be pretty massive there. But actually, I think Fallen might have gone to the back.
Yeah, Fallen seems to have fallen off the track, and now the entire pack has been shifted on its head. Now it's William Cree and Ember leading the pack. Awoken, who was 7th at the start of the lap, up in the top 3. Meanwhile, Big J making their way up to the front again. 3rd place for Big J, needing a good run here after not a great GP. Anything could happen in that second GP, so Big J hoping to make an impact, and they're going to make an impact indeed the first place. Blue Shell is sent. William Cree has a mushroom. No, they don't, not anymore.
Oh, that was crazy.
Boo in play, steals that mushroom away, but they pull a super horn at the last second. What a move from William Cree to keep their lead intact.
Couldn't take the shortcut. That was worthy of a mic peek if I do give you a license to say so myself there, Bowsy. Big J here in 6th. We do see Flappy Cat and Val in the back. Not sure what they're cooking up here, but it's William Cree's race to lose. Awoken, big gap there in 2nd over Ember and Big J. Actually, no, excuse me, Big J here in 7th. That's going to be Fallen. And so the race is on, but, you know, a lot of positions already kind of locked up here.
Yeah, Big J's trying to make their way up here, but William Cree going to be satisfied with that first place finish, rounding out this GP with a win. Awoken right on their bumper, though. Fallen trying to take away that position. Darren also in spot, but it's not going to be enough. Awoken 2nd, Fallen 3rd. Darren finishes out in 4th. Ember going to be locking up a 5th place. As for 6 through 7, looks like it's Val in 6, Big J in 7th, and Flappy Cat. Unfortunately, was 0 for 3 on the shortcut, finishes in 8th, but still retains their position in the overall standings. But there are your standings for the first 12 races of this 24-race set. So,
yeah, Darren hangs on 2 points over Fallen, and Flappy Cat, unfortunately, that last place there puts them down 7 points to Val there for 6. But everything, like you said, resets. We have a clean slate here. Obviously, those points are locked in. But another segment of 12 coming up pretty soon. Anything can happen. Yeah,
definitely. And again, that mentality completely resets when it comes to these. So,
and I feel like Awoken's got to be feeling pretty good with a 20-plus point lead there. That's going to be, as we're putting in the scores, William Cree with 77, and Awoken, I believe, got into the 90s, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe
sort of turning here.
I'm looking to see, I believe.
Yeah, 93.
Yeah, 93
so
total. For
93, 77. So that's a 16-point lead.
I believe so. Yeah, 93 to 77. That would be a 16-point
So William
advantage.
did bring it back a little bit because it did get up there to almost near 20 at one point. So just ever so slightly. But now, yeah, the real question is going to become is, can everyone kind of hit Awoken back to where they can get some points on Awoken? Because Awoken did finish really strong in Knockout Tour towards the end, and you know players shouldn't really be relying on that to dethrone first, but we'll have to see. I know last time Dash kind of ran away with it. Knockout Tour didn't really have that big of an effect on Dash, but we'll have to see here as we're getting the final results coming up on your screen here momentarily.
Yep, we'll get the results here for that first set of 12. Again, there is a second set of 12 directly after that, so we're going to be seeing that second set. We'll have to see what's going to happen in that second set because anything could happen. So we'll have to see who's going to be able to come out on top.
Yeah.
And not to mention, after that second set of 12, we also have the Knockout Tour multiplier bonus. So anything could happen as we take a look again at the standings here. Awoken, again, 93 points, almost cracking triple digits in that first Grand Prix.
It's because we have 8 players, too. So 93 for 8 players is really solid for Awoken.
Exactly. William Cree getting 77 points. Hopefully the lucky 7s will pay dividends in that second GP.
For
Darren
sure.
and Fallen, 2 points between them for 3rd and 4th. Ember, meanwhile, 52. You go back 10 points to Val with 42 in 6th place. And then Flappy Cat and Big J rounding out the pack, 36 and 22, respectively, on their point totals.
Yeah, so I think we will have to see. It looks like it's going to be about a 5-minute break or so. So I would say by roughly 2:25, we'll probably be hitting the green flag in segment number 2. I wouldn't go anywhere. I don't know if we're kind of filibustering for the next 5 minutes, but
yeah,
I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
Yep, it's going to be interesting to see what the second half of the New England Winter Cup Grand Prix tournament has in store. But don't go anywhere. We'll be back after a quick break for section number 2 of our New England Winter Cup Grand Prix portion. Don't go anywhere. More New England Winter Cup action from 1UP Games right in a bit. Welcome back, everybody, to the New England Winter Cup here, live from 1UP Games here in Plainville, Massachusetts. My name is HBBowser64, and to my right is Knight here on the cast. Have a little bit of camera trouble, but we'll get that sorted here in a second. But regardless of which, there we go, we're back. Now you see us in motion, no longer
I had like a
still picture.
resting face there for a second. That was a little concerning, but no, we're back.
Yep, we're back now in full motion picture. But regardless of which, Knight, we're halfway through the first section of the Grand Prix section, or at least the first of 3 sections of the Grand Prix, and we've already seen a lot of action. It has been a very tightly contested battle, but it seems like we're starting to settle on what our top 3 or 4 are going to be to start off. But the question is, who's going to be able to show the momentum has continued in the second set after the break?
Yeah, I think this is Awoken's tournament to lose right now. They have a, point total in the teens, 16 points ahead of William Cree. William can definitely do some damage along with Darren and Fallen for sure. But I think the biggest thing that we're going to need to see this second segment is less technical tracks and more physical tracks to beat back those top players and make this a little bit more of a fair fight. If that can happen, anything's possible. But if Awoken is able to control the technical tracks, I think this one's all over. But we'll have to see.
Yeah, definitely. Again, a lot of those technical tracks, Great Question Block Ruins, Whistle Stop Summit, Bowser's Castle, all those tracks were tracks that seem to be in the favor of Awoken. So it's going to be interesting to see if we start seeing some of those oddball picks. Do we see Dandelion Depths? Do we see Koopa Beach? Do we see DK Spaceport? Do we even see more intermissions? Because we did see a couple of intermissions in that first set here. So anything can happen when it comes to this. People might try to throw curveballs to get the advantage in their favor here. But as a reminder of our player list, Flappy Cat, Fallen, Darren, William Cree, Big J, Awoken, Val, and Ember are the 8 players competing here for the Grand Prix title. And as a reminder, the format of this tournament, 24 total races separated into 2 sections of 12. After those 24 races, we then do a knockout tour to be able to get a multiplier for everyone's score. The higher you finish a knockout tour, the more points the more multiplier is added to your score, and we'll get into that when we get into the knockout tour portion. But the big thing is, can you be consistent over the entire game? And the question is, how many points can you rack up in these final 12 races to put yourself in the best position come that knockout tour?
Yeah, time will tell. It looks like we are getting the green light to get into the lobby and get things going here for the final 12 race segment of this tournament before Knockout Tour and the Knockout Tour tournament, which is a whole separate thing, by the way, which I'll be in. I just realized I'll probably be taking over my spot on Ember's setup because that's my setup. And we'll have to probably switch me in for Ember, and Ember will have to go probably to 11.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
I'm just a little lazy, but we got a long ways to go before the knockout tour tournament. But any predictions you think, Bowsy, for what you're going to be seeing here in this next group of 12?
I think so. I mean, the big thing right now is that number one, every track is now available for selection. So
again,
there are no more problems with repeat tracks. You don't have to worry about repeat tracks unless they're picked in this section. So you're going to see picks like Whistle Stop Summit, Mario Bros. Circuit. They're going to come back up. But after 12 races of it getting picked and not getting selected, Toad's Factory is going to be starting off the second section of 12 races.
Yeah, so we will see what's going to be happening here. Toad's Factory. This is one that we have not seen yet, but I'm really excited to see how this is going to play out. Not sure who this is going to lean towards, but again, it's a relatively straightforward track. A couple technical sections towards the end, but time will tell what will happen.
Yeah, definitely. There is a lot of technical skill. It's all about that. The big thing I've heard about this track recently, though, is that there's not a lot of shortcuts. So it can be regarded as somewhat of a controversial track, especially toward the top scene, but who cares? It's Toad's Factory. You love it all the same. It's a fan favorite on the Wii. It's a fan favorite in my heart. And as for William Prix right now, it currently is a fan favorite for him as he's currently leading the pack through the factory here, following right on his tail there.
Yeah, and Awoken in the mid-pack here, getting backed by Val. Wow, incredible stuff. So we're likely going to see Awoken hard bagging here a little bit, as much as you can in 8th, but we're seeing a decent amount of power items coming in the 7th and 8th place spot here in respect to like Bills, Shocks, Blues, and stuff like that. So, you know, lap 2 here, halfway through, but only time will tell what will happen here going to this final lap.
Meanwhile, Big J making their way through the factory, trying not to get squished by those presses. Meanwhile, toward the front of the pack, Val making their way up. Meanwhile, a lead switch has been taking place. Fallen currently now leads over William Prix as we head into the section, and Fallen back spamming William Prix there at the corner. Now William Prix facing some pressure here from Val as Fallen starting to run away with the parabitty, but misses that cut. That's one of the most crucial cuts that you can take here on Toad's Factory. If you can hit those rails, you can make up a little bit of ground. The Shock's going to come out as well. So is Kamek. It's going to be an absolute bombastic sort of situation. Speaking of bombastic, here are some bombs here in the factory. Definitely not OSHA safe.
A lot of bombs. No, OSHA will not be pleased, but everybody back now to their original character. Fallen losing what could have been their defense there. Val in 2nd, William Prix in 3rd. Awoken still kind of in that mid-pack, but does have that big 16, 17-point cushion there from the first segment. So the real battle is going to be between Val and Fallen, and then William in the mix here. Let's see what plays out.
Yeah, Val currently 3rd. William Prix trying to make their way up here with Fallen in 1st. Looks like Fallen is going to secure that 1st place. As I say that, here comes the blue shells. Fallen prepared. No, they are not. And William will steal away the win from Fallen, thanks in part to that blue shell.
And Fallen does limp across there for 2nd. Val likely getting 3rd. We'll have to see. And then Ember, Flappy Cat, Awoken, Darren, Big J. So big little point swing there. That's going to be 6 points, William over Awoken. And that's going to likely shrink the overall lead, I would like to say maybe to 10?
I believe.
Yes,
yeah.
16-point deficit before. So now the lead is 10, Awoken over William. And just like that, right? It's only going to take a couple of races for things to kind of reset like that if things remain equal. So everybody is still kind of in this ball game here.
Yeah, and you mentioned, of course, like the sort of like track picks that would have to be picked. A track
That's a great
that
example.
not a lot of some technical skill, but not entirely technical skill based. And we see Awoken seeming to struggle a little bit. So maybe the track picks are the key to success here, especially for people like William Prix and Fallen who are trying to catch up and make that deficit up here. If we take a look at our second selection, again, we start to see a little bit of the variance here. Not a lot of technical skill tracks, and it looks like we're going to be heading back to Mario Circuit. What started our first Grand Prix is now going to be the second track in our second.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, too. Darren and Fallen in a little bit of a battle. Val and Flappy Cat there in a little bit of a battle. So as we can see here, you know, Val getting a little bit more there over Flappy Cat. Darren not having as good of a race as Fallen. Still 11 more to go. Anything can happen.
As William Prix is going to be not starting off. For a second, I thought he was going to be going, but he looked in his rearview mirror and totally missed the green light. But it's going to be some people starting to bag here a little bit, going for those back items, trying to get some powerful items to start off. Big J going to be leading the field here on the Baby Mario with, I believe, I don't know the name of that cart, but I know it's the pipe bike. Meanwhile, now Flappy Cat taking over the lead here with some triple mushrooms of their own. They're going to try to go for this cut here. One of the bigger cuts here on Mario Circuit. You can just go across the grass there and make up so much ground. Flappy Cat currently leading the pack through Mario Circuit.
Switching to Goomba, too, by the way, and switching the loadout.
Off the daisy, now on to Goomba. Now William Prix trying to take the lead. Goes a little bit too tight on the corner, but still able to maintain their momentum heading into the final lap here in Mario Circuit 3.
William Prix in a pretty solid position there, but Darren also in a position here to dodge this blue, but
no! The shell hits them right as they're about to try and dodge the blue shell. They get hit, lose that traction, lose the opportunity to use the mushroom dodge, and now they're falling all the way back. Currently in 7th place as we see them. Ember now boozing the bullet bill, trying to catch up, falling right in front of him. William Prix not too far away. Triple reds, but it's not going to risk it. Going to backspam them all to keep their position safe for a 2nd place for Ember.
And that might have been a little bit of a good recovery there for Awoken, finishing in that 3rd position potentially ahead of Fallen. Maybe got 4th, did get 3rd, but now 9 points for William over Awoken. Now the lead is basically cut in half. Awoken is only going to be up 7 points overall.
Yeah, definitely. Again, we're seeing that sort of development as we're going along here. Also, shout out to Star Cozy correcting me. That is the Hyper Pipe. So, I wouldn't know. I only use the Rob Hog.
I only have like 20 hours on this game until I don't know what anything is.
I only use the Rob Hog because the Rob Hog is the best bike in the game, and no one can at me on that. Anyway, so it's going to be interesting to see, now that we're seeing a different blend of these tracks, what these players are going to try to go for to try and beat out Awoken. Because, again, Toad's Factory, Awoken didn't do too well. Was still able to do pretty well, but wasn't able to get that victory. Then Mario Circuit, another track with not a lot of technical skill. Some, but not fully technical skill. More so it's a cut and dry sort of track. So now we're starting to see track picks like Koopa Beach, Dandelion Depths, DK Spaceport up in the conversation. Those are tracks where you could theoretically have an advantage and being able to find a top spot. Actually, 2 people picking DK Spaceport here. We'll see what the track selection is going to be, but it looks like it's going to be Whistle Stop Summit. As a reminder, this was the track that Awoken pretty much ran away with in that first Grand Prix, so we'll have to see if they're able to do exactly that and try to make a recovery here in this second Grand Prix.
Yeah, that's really the storyline heading into this race, and this is really going to favor Awoken. So time will tell, as it looks like Ember also may have switched. No, they're keeping the same bike. But we'll see how Awoken handles this one here. Because last time, like you said, Bowsy, Awoken had that big gap. But this is a brand new race, different dynamics. Maybe a shock or a blue will kind of change up the field dynamics of this race.
Yeah, but Ember's going to be leading the field here with triple greens at their side, already losing 2 of them, however. But still has that one rotating around them, going to try to snipe out William Cree, but is going to miss. Meanwhile, Fallen getting hit by Val Star here as everyone trying to make their way through. Meanwhile, Flappy Cat starting to experiment with different characters now. Was once on the Goomba, now on the Nabbit, trying to make their way up to the front of the pack.
Yeah, so 2 Nabbits now with both Flappy Cat and William Cree. So something to keep an eye on as they're making some in-race adjustments. Flappy Cat just absolutely destroying Ember there with that star. Ember's going to have to go back to 6th here after that Bill passes them off screen.
Yeah, Blue Shell, meanwhile, just completely skips first place. I don't know what happened there, but it just never went for first place at all. But the pack is entirely close together. You can put a blanket over this entire front of the pack. Darren is going to be taking the lead for now. Flappy Cat right on their bumper. Meanwhile, it's William Cree boosting their way up with a golden mushroom to take the lead back. Going for the cut, but is not going to be able to go for that rail cut. Just going to be going for the safe route. Not willing to risk that cut. Big J with Bullet Bill trying to make their way up. Awoken going for that rail cut. Might have been able to actually land it here and is going to be able to make up a lot of ground because of that. But we are now in the final lap of Whistle Stop Summit. Anything could happen. This race has been pandemonium night. It all comes down to this.
Yeah, some players opting to take a wide line here, and you've got to expect that might be William Cree up there as the Nabbit in first, along with Awoken. Huge battle there between our top 2 overall, and Fallen kind of bringing the pack in there from 3rd on back. You want to believe that that's going to be William up in first, and then that other Nabbit's going to be Flappy Cat there in the middle.
Yep, William Cree currently leading. Going to be trying to go for the cut. Misses it, though. Awoken has an opportunity, but here comes Fallen, taking the cut right on top of the rail. Goes right for the tight angle. Awoken getting past because of it. Almost hits the bomb on their way to the finish line. It's going to be William Cree in first. Fallen sniping that second with that rail cut, and Awoken snapping out the top 3 with a 3rd place.
Ember going back down to 7th as a result of that. And a big recipient, not only was William the winner of that race, but with Fallen kind of making those last lap, last turn theatrics with the bomb and taking 2nd. Huge displacement of points there for Awoken, who is unable to really maintain this gap now, as I believe we'll have to double check the score here as we're going into this next race, but it's probably like a 5 or 6 point, no, probably like a 4 or 5 point lead maximum now for Awoken here over William.
Yeah, definitely. And again, I mentioned that rail strategy so many times, and that was the first time we actually saw it here on the broadcast. That rail strategy gets you so tight on that corner. It is so hard to execute, but if you can execute it perfectly, it's an easy way to make ground, and we saw Fallen do exactly that. Stole that position away from Awoken to be able to take those points and try to make up the difference here. So definitely a lot of strategy being played here, but now we're heading into race number 4. We're starting to see some of those different tracks. We're starting to see some Wario Stadium, Shy Guy Bazaars. Still see Koopatroopa Beach on the board, but still not getting it. We're going to Wario Stadium for race number 4.
Awoken up 16 and Darren up 2 here in the first segment, and it's 27-15. So it's a 4-point lead for Awoken, and then Fallen's at 19. Darren's at 9. So Fallen is now moved into 3rd place overall by 8 points. That's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it shows the dynamic, the momentum starting to carry over for some of our players, but not for others here. Let's see if these players are going to be able to regain the momentum here on Wario Stadium. Well, for William Prix, they have too much momentum to the point where they burnt out their engine yet again. But now it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to be able to recover. Again, William Prix still on a hot streak right now, trying to catch back up to Awoken. Meanwhile, Darren leading the field here to start off here on Wario Stadium, using these shortcuts, these rails to their advantage. No items in the pocket, but you really don't need any when you're running this far up and this much tricks.
Big J having a pretty solid run here in 2nd as well, but just takes a little bit too wide of a line, has to recorrect, losing a series of positions there. William Prix here in 5th, and it makes you wonder, Flappy Cat's still going to be, in 6th, so that's why you only see one of the Nabbits on your screen. Big battle. Darren in 1st here, going into lap number 2, so it's not something we've been seeing a lot out of on Darren here, struggling here in the first start of this 2nd segment, losing 3rd overall, but plenty of time to regain that back here. It's Darren and Ember in the top 2.
Yep, Ember trying to chase down Darren here with some mushrooms. Awoken, meanwhile, from the top ropes, a bullet bill in hand as well. They are ready for whatever comes their way here. It'll be interesting to see when they decide to use this. There are so many tight turns around Wario Stadium. When do you use the bullet bill to make your way up? And you also have that amazing cut. You can jump up from that ramp to go right up to the top ropes and rail grind your way around that corner. Again, another tighter corner. Similar in kind to that last turn of Whistle Stop Summit. Looking to use their bill right at that hairpin corner. Make their way all the way up to 1st and almost gets dragged by Ember's Bananas. A bullet bill saving themselves a little bit there, but the final lap has begun, and Awoken is starting to run away with the lead, taking it away with 1 mushroom in the bank.
Awoken really mastering this rail strat right now, getting a little bit of a gap there over Flappy Cat. Fallen moving there into 3rd. Big gap between 1st and last, so keep that in mind for some late lap shenanigans here as Ember trying to take 3rd here over Fallen. That seems to be a little bit of where the battle is, but Ember also gets 2nd out of it, so something must have happened to Flappy Cat. Yes, Flappy Cat is right now neck and neck with Ember for 2nd.
Yep, it's going to be a tight battle, but for Ember, they have this triple mushroom to do exactly that. Flappy Cat tries to snipe them out on the corner, but the blue shell hits Flappy Cat before they're able to get across the line. Ember loses the spot as well. I believe that was Darren sniping 2nd place away. Ember getting 3rd. Oh, you have to feel for Flappy Cat.
I had to hold in a cough there. That was wild. Flappy Cat dropping down to 5th. Darren stealing 2nd out of like the rafters there. And William now 6 points up over Awoken. So now Awoken back to a 10-point lead overall. We saw Fallen there at around 24 points or so. So that's still going to be a pretty big gap there over Darren for 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, well, there's your reminder of what the points were for the first GP. Thankfully, Ember shows us exactly what happened there.
Flappy Cat's taking a picture.
Might as well, you know. Have to sort of like calm yourself down after what happened there. Again, so close to getting a top
that was rough.
3
Flappy
finish.
Cat was having a great run that race too. Like Flappy Cat's had some pop-off races like DK Pass and a few others. So yeah, we're gonna have to see here heading into this next one. What's Flappy Cat gonna pick? I'm curious.
To see. Interesting.
Ooh.
Looks for Cheap Cheap
yeah,
Falls.
looking.
Question block. Thinking about
Wario
it.
Shipyard, maybe.
Maybe. That's not. That's somewhat of a technical track. Okay. Wario Shipyard is the pick for Flappy Cat.
3 Wario
3
Shipyards.
All right. We have some pirates among us. It seems like they're trying to get their big booty, but that's exactly what they're gonna do. We're going to Wario Shipyard here for race number. I believe this is race number 5.
Yes. I don't think I can riff off of that joke for the sake of keeping this PG friendly. But
when I say
you'd be surprised. Culturally, this is a fun fact. In Spain, they don't know anything about Sir Mix-a-Lot and his famous song.
Well, I guess you could say they don't have the treasure in that case. But anyway, Wario Shipyard is the 5th race here of this GP. We're expecting Flappy Cat following the rest of the crowd as they go for that tight corner on the right. Meanwhile, Awoken currently has the lead. Question is for how long. The banana does not hit Awoken. I believe it hit Flappy Cat, unfortunately, but pretty good item selection here. Woken going to be taking this rail up here on the top right to be able to make some momentum and has some sort, I mean, okay, we talked about Winter Tarzan. We talked about the normal Tarzan and Shooting Falls. You could pretty much consider this Pirate Tarzan because you can once again jump off the trees. I think at this point, can we consider any cut that's a Tarzan, that's jumping off the trees a Tarzan?
That might be a reach. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to talk to the USMK staff about that. But Awoken, meanwhile, continuing to lead the pack here on Wario Shipyard. William Cree and Fallen currently neck and neck for second, though.
And now William Cree here in second. Awoken there in first as things are playing out and progressing pretty heavily here. This is what you don't want to see because even though Awoken is not first overall in this segment, rather, they still have that gap. They still have about a 10-point gap or so. I was trying to do some math there on my phone. So you really got to keep an eye on Awoken here, and you cannot afford Awoken to kind of run away at all in this segment.
Absolutely not. Again, the farther Awoken gets in points, the harder it's going to be to catch up to them, especially in that knockout tour section. Flappy Cat and Fallen both getting hit. Speaking of Awoken getting far away, they are really far away from the pack right now to the point where a blue shell is going to hit them and send them into the drink. And that's going to be a pretty hard hit there because now the gap has substantially closed. William Cree closing in on Awoken here as the final lap begins on the Shipyard. Does William Cree have what it takes to take Awoken down on the Shipyard?
I would go for the attempted Kobe snipe here. I honestly would. And William does, but it goes too far to the left, so super unfortunate. William does have this green, and it looks like Awoken does have some defense up top there with the net. Oh, wow!
The rail, but what a snipe from William Cree to make sure they don't hit it, but still in second place, looking for anything here to try and stop Awoken's reign. Ember, meanwhile, toward the middle of the pack. It is an absolute fiesta toward the middle. You can put a blanket over everyone there. And meanwhile, a second blue shell. Awoken probably not going to be able to dodge that one. Having to jump into the water, gets hit by the blue as a perfect opportunity for William Cree to swoop on down. Ironically, not on swoop, on Nabbit, riding the wall and finishing the race in style with a first place. Awoken, however, being able to hold on to second place in the aftermath.
Nice recovery there by Awoken for second. Great job there for William getting first, and now bringing this back down to a single-point lead total, I want to say overall. Yeah, so 8 points. Now Awoken over William. William has 8 here in this segment, but Awoken did have 16 in this segment prior. And I know you're a little bit of a racing guy, Bowsette. You were kind of on a roll there, so I didn't want to interrupt. But that little reflex move there by William when he caught up to Awoken reminded me of Isaac Hajar, like on Monaco that one time, avoiding that slow person in the tunnel. Because, with the banana on the rail, throwing the green forward.
Yeah.
Split second reflex, that could have been disaster. It reminded me of F1 there for a second.
Yeah, you talk about split second, definitely split section reactions could be anything in racing. So, again, those split section reactions can make or break your race. And in that case, William Cree had the opportunity. That's technically the second time they've had a split second reaction.
I think William definitely has won the tournament in terms of style points. I think we can kind of come to that conclusion. However, that means absolutely nothing, like whose line is it anyway points. And the real winner of the tournament is going to be decided by skill, but William's been having a phenomenal run. He just needs to keep this gap over Awoken and expand on it here.
Well, speaking of skill, we go to Koopa Troopa Beach, which is the exact opposite of that, some would argue. Again, I've talked about this in other tournaments. This is the Mario Kart World Baby Park.
Yeah.
So it's chaotic. There's no telling what can happen. And in the case of Awoken, you're just going to stay in the back, watch the madness unfold in front of you here. It's a 5-lap shootout. It's pandemonium. Thankfully, they changed this with the intermission, but we're not doing an intermission here as Big J going to be making their way to the front.
And this is going to be a 5-lap battle here. Plenty of things can happen, and the real name of the game is it looks like Fallen does have a little bit of a commanding lead overall in third place. With the Fallen Darren battle. We haven't really seen a whole lot of Darren since RWS or the Warriors Stadium here, but now the real question becomes as we're heading into lap 3, how are you positioning? Are you going to stay in the front? Are you going to be in the back? We see both Nabbits up there at the front. We see Darren and Awoken at the back.
Yeah, Flappy Cat currently leading the pack. William Cree right behind them. Shock is going to be coming out here from Awoken, I believe.
Yeah.
Star in hand as well. They're going to be making their way up to the front as William Cree takes the lead away from Flappy Cat. Lap 4. Still 2 laps left. Anything could happen, but I mean, right now, Knight, I think Awoken is probably in one of the best situations just based on their item picks alone right now.
Yeah, 17 coins. I mean, Williams only has 7, so Awoken's in a position where this is their race to lose.
Yep. I mean, as the final lap begins here on Koopa Beach, Awoken, again, their race to lose right now. The only thing that could stop them right now is either a bunch of red shells or a lightning bolt, none of which seem to be present as they come across that final corner. And it's going to be yet another victory for Awoken at the end of the day. Before they even crossed the line, I saw them taking a drink out of their, I believe, Monster Energy before they crossed the line.
The white flavor, which is very good, by the way, if you are a Monster Energy drink fan. I forget what it's called. But, I mean, William does get second. That's going to be Flappy Cat and Fallen battling there for last.
Fallen last place.
So, I didn't get to see what that distribution was. But it looks like it's a 2-point difference with 8 players between first and second. So now this is back to a 10-point gap between Awoken and William Cree.
Yep, it continually seems to go back and forth.
It's a seesaw.
Between,
Yeah.
It's a seesaw between single digit, double digit, single digit, double digit, single digit, double digit. So we'll have to see if eventually that seesaw is going to teeter onto one side. But right now, it seems to be just that sort of back and forth between them. But I think, honestly, for William Cree, if you can keep single digits with Awoken, you're in a very good spot heading into the knockout.
Right. And that's what I was thinking about, too. It's like, I think in the Summer Cup, Dash kind of had a little bit of a runaway where even a little bit of a poor knockout tour performance really kind of sealed the deal. But if, to your point, if there's a single-digit gap, that really does open the door for knockout tour here as this final leg of this tournament.
As we get to see our next track selection here, and we do have the track already selected. We need to see if it's actually going to be what I think it is. Nope, it is going to be the 3-lap variant of Crown City. That is going to be the next track. So, interesting track. Some people in the community do not like this variant of Crown City because the 3 other variants seem to just be more, entertaining. While this one, it's a smuggle track. If you're in the back, you have a good item. That final section has so many off-road shortcuts and so many weird ways you can take it that it's basically turned into a bagging track. So we'll see who decides to take advantage of that. And we already see some of the top players. We see one Nabbit, that's William Cree, Ember, and Awoken. The top 3 pretty much in the tournament are the bottom 3 in this race right now.
Yeah, we did see back there Big J, and Big J also is using smart steering, so I think that's unfortunately been a hindrance for them, even though that may be a personal preference. But hopefully we'll see them battling there for 6th and 7th overall. Darren, though, been a little quiet this GP so far after a phenomenal outing there in the first one. So we'll have to see more from Darren, too. But Fallen really trying to take advantage and keep 3rd overall. Opts not to hit Flappy Cat. They're not really racing for position here in terms of the grand scheme of things. So Flappy Cat opting to hold on the lead.
Yeah, right now, Flappy Cat and Fallen sort of flip-flopping the lead. Unfortunately, there's the horn coming out there from Fallen. Now Flappy Cat getting the brunt force of everything. Red shell to the face, trying to make their way up here to the high rise. Val currently up in 4th place, but right now the lead is between Fallen and Darren. But again, this track I mentioned, it's mainly favored toward those people in the back. Anything could happen, especially when you look at that back. And you see William Cree, you see Awoken, you see Ember. They're all trying to hold these items and get themselves up to the front when the time is right.
And as you can see, Awoken really holds the power here in this room, and it looks like William Cree is aware of that, trying to sort of benchmark Awoken there with that shock. Big J there in 4th. And when will Awoken use this? Likely, I would say, towards maybe the beginning of lap number 3?
Yep, it's going to be using it right at the beginning of lap 3. Everyone hit by that lightning bolt except William Cree. So William Cree might have the cards in their favor if they get the right items here. But now Awoken, golden mushroom, triple mushrooms, no worry in the world. Just going to be dashing all the way up to the front of the pack and immediately taking it away. It is an absolute runaway. Bat on the loose, and Awoken just completely stealing this race away. Fallen getting hit by every single red shell in the book as Awoken just steals away Crown City from everyone else in the pack.
And it looks like that William Cree got mired. Mired in the pack there.
Oh, boy.
And a late hit. Flappy Cat opting, I think, was battling there with William Cree. Something happened. William only able to get 6th. So now things are kind of right back to where they were. 16-point lead there for Awoken. And just like that, all of that work that William has done so far to kind of decrease that gap has now resulted to nothing. We're back to the status quo.
Yep, back to square one, and we saw that clip there from William Prix. They got hit by a green shell heading into the glider at the end of Section 2, so just very unfortunate there from William Prix. But we'll have to see. Again, the big thing is, can you recover from such a move like that? We still have plenty of races left to go, and again, that knockout tournament, but you got to try to make that advantage. Maybe you're able to get that advantage. You have to try and pick a track that you know Awoken might struggle on. The question is, we've seen so many tracks where Awoken has been able to come back from the bottom, so we'll have to see if they have anything else up their sleeves. See some interesting track picks here. DK Spaceport, for example, making a bunch of appearances here. Acorn Heights has been one that we haven't seen yet, and Arbor Circuit back on the menu. Also, Desert Hills being picked because someone in this room definitely needs therapy.
I think the other thing that we're noticing is that Awoken isn't afraid to go to the back and pull the shock and is one of the more technical front runners of the room. So somebody is going to have to play in the back if they're going to want to make Awoken's life a little bit harder, as we're going to be heading here to Acorn Heights.
Yep, Acorn Heights is the pick here. This is another track that has some pretty interesting shortcuts, especially toward that second half. This first half doesn't really have a lot. It's mostly cut and dry until you head to the glider. And after that glider, when you head into that wide open space you see there on the bottom of the map, it's all fun and games. There's a bunch of shortcuts and a bunch of technical skill that you can use to find your way to the front. Darren's meanwhile going to start off here with the lead. Flappy Cat third and Awoken in the middle of those two players in second.
Darren here in first really needs a solid run here in this later part of the second segment to really be back in contention for third here with Fallen, but you want to think that Darren's in a very comfortable fourth place, though, at the moment, given that Ember and Val in 5th and 6th, respectively, have been struggling a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you already see, I mentioned some of those strategies, Awoken pulling them off there, with all the vines here on Acorn Heights. You can pull off amazing shortcuts with the wall rides, with the leaps, with the vines, make your way across the entire track, and Awoken currently sitting comfortably in first place, making me a little bit nervous there with that jump, but they know what they're doing. They know how to make these cuts. They know how to play this track, and right now they're playing it to absolute perfection. This is not what you want to see if you are anybody else in the field. What you do want to see, that though, is that is a blue shell going out to Awoken.
Yep, and Awoken, is still going to hang out in first for the time being. Now William going to be inheriting that as Fallen does get clipped by one of Awoken's green shells here heading into the final lap. And it's William and Awoken. This has pretty much been the theme of the day, as we are seeing Big J unfortunately have a little bit of a gap back there to last, but the top 7 are all relatively close here with a little bit of a 4-player breakaway up here at the front with Ember behind William, Awoken, and that Betty Bugger, which is Fallen.
Yep, Awoken still trying to find their way back up to William. It's all going to come up on this final section, all these final cuts. Can you perform them perfectly? Awoken trying to make the moves, does not opt to go for the wall strat. William trying to make the jump strat work. Awoken jumps off of William, I believe, or jumps off the post there, neck and neck, back and forth. William and Awoken. Awoken throws the greens, they miss. William trying to hit the ramp, they miss the vine, and Awoken's gonna profit off of that with a win here on Acorn Heights. Second place goes to Fallen. William Prix will have to settle for third. But what a close round altogether on Acorn Heights.
Yeah, and William kind of did have to jump off there because it looked like that Awoken did have another green, and that would have been disaster. So it's going to be Awoken, Fallen, Ember, Flappy Cat, Val, Darren. Flappy Cat having a really solid run there with Val and Darren and Ember. So there's a little bit of a clump there between 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. So we'll have to see how that will be playing out longer term, as there is a battle between those 4 players there for that top 5 position.
Yeah, definitely, and we'll have to see now because that gap is starting to increase yet again. Does William Prix have anything here for Awoken here in these last few races? Because again, the goal is trying to get it as close to single digits as possible. Because if you're able to get it close to single digits, you have the best chance of being able to take it once we get into that knockout tour section. Val just running over everybody with a star, throwing bombs at everybody as well. This crab is out of control.
Yeah, Val's been not having the best of luck here in this second round, really fighting to stay in the top 6, as we are going to be going to Moo Moo Meadows, finally getting a glimpse of the cows for the first time today.
Yeah, it's funny, Moo Moo Meadows, you would think that this is a very bland and boring track, but you'd be surprised. There's quite a lot of technical skill on this track.
There's a lot of character in this rendition of Moo Moo Meadows, and yeah, a lot of depth to it too.
Yeah, between the rails, there's the infamous cow tipping strat where you jump off the cow on the first lap, and you're able to use that as a massive shortcut. We'll see if anybody's willing to pull it off here. Looks like I believe that's Flappy Cat trying to pull off the cow tipping strat. I don't know if they've hit it or not, but meanwhile, for the top 3 in our tournament, they're all going for the baggy strats. Actually, the top 4 in our tournament are now the bottom 4 in this race. Awoken, Ember, William Prix, and Fallen 5th and 8th right now, while the rest of the field is dogging out for those top 4. And look at how much ground you can make. I mentioned, of course, the technical skill. Awoken pretty much, you saw the gap earlier. Awoken has shrunken that immediately with the technical skill they're pulling off.
Yeah, Awoken clearly has a mastery here of this track, as the field is kind of letting Flappy Cat lead for the time being. Val challenging Flappy Cat there after a hit for first. Big J up there as well. So yeah, it's kind of like a little bit of an inversion in the way the overall standings are. And now Flappy Cat's got to leave a little bit of space there for Val with those trips. Ember here in 6th, Fallen kind of moving into position, but we're still only just about halfway through this race.
As the Golden Shell comes out there from Ember, Big J getting hit by that as well here. It's going to be interesting to see as this goes on who's going to be able to get the advantage. Awoken's going to be once again going for the jump, mushrooming up onto the tree as they make their way over to the rail. Fallen using that golden mushroom, some hammers coming their way as well here. As again, toward the middle of the pack, it seems to be absolute pandemonium, but these players are making it work. They're getting through, especially if you're Awoken and Darren right now, making your way toward the front, toward the crab of Val, who's currently leading. Final lap on Moo Moo Meadows. One last chance to make a run for Val at the top.
Yeah, and she has a little bit of a gap, too, up there in first. So trying to hang on here as Darren doesn't have a whole lot because of her triples as well. But, oh, no.
Oh, boy, the shock is in play. Ember uses it and runs straight into a green shell. Had some momentum, but then runs into
That was actually
one.
his girlfriend's green.
Oh, my
That's
goodness.
Unfortunate. They're going to be talking about that one on the way home.
Yeah, that's going to be a rough conversation.
Val
Fallen,
might hang on here.
Yep, Val trying to hold on. Fallen, second place, triple bananas in hand. Val has a feather. Not the greatest item you can have here, but still a really good item if you want to try to keep this lead. But now the rest of the pack hungry for that lead. Is Val going to be getting to Crab Feast? No, they're not. Ember comes in. That's going to be a rough car ride on the way home.
Man,
but
Ember still gets it.
Ember
still
and
gets
Val.
it. That's incredible. So it's going to be Ember, Val, and it's not going to be William or Flappy Cat. That's probably going to be Flappy Cat.
Actually, third. Top 3 for Flappy Cat here on Moo Moo Meadows. We talking about Flappy Cat's been pretty close to the top in most of these races. Just has not been able to crack that top 3. So really well done for Flappy Cat.
Darren is now
15
back on Fallen. So Fallen has a 13-point lead now there on third. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. And then Ember and Val and Flappy Cat are somewhat in the same mix, but I don't think any positions have changed. But yeah, Darren's really got to hang on though, because Darren's kind of going to be in the battle now with Ember and Val and Flappy Cat with some of these finishes.
Yeah, definitely. We're starting to see where the next tracks are that are going to be picked here. We already saw Val pick Choco Mountain. We're starting to see some of those usual suspects. DK Spaceport, Desert Hills. We're starting to see Boost Cinema back online. Cheap Cheap Falls, a track that we still haven't seen. I'm kind of surprised it's been this long until Cheap Cheap Falls has come up on the rotation. 2 people picking that. Looks like it was Awoken who picked one of those Cheap Cheap Falls. So, unfortunately, not going to there. We're going to be heading over to Choco Mountain for the next race.
Excited to see what's going to be happening here at Choco Mountain, and we are a little bit over halfway through, I would like to say. It's been a little bit of a back and forth round. It's been a very interesting round. As we are now,
we're
race
very
10.
far in. 10th race, so only 2 races left after this. So this is your last-ditch attempt to make any sort of moves here. And this track, let's just say, this is probably the most cut-and-dry track here. There's not a lot, from what I know, there's not a lot of opportunities for shortcuts on this track. I could be proven wrong here today, but this track is very cut and dry. Not a lot of rail cuts, not a lot of wall cuts. It's just you against the elements. In this
a couple areas to shroom forward.
Yeah,
a
maybe.
bit,
Yeah,
but that's about it.
But that's it. So, Awoken taking a little bit of a wide angle, deciding to go for a little bit of bagging here. But again, you mentioned that sort of cuts here. That large cut right over here, right before the hill section, is probably their best opportunity to make a comeback here on Choco Mountain.
Yeah, I mean, Awoken really has no incentive to really run because of, Awoken's main goal right now is to protect the lead. And with William kind of at bay, there's no reason to run. Granted, that's a little bit unfortunate there, as it looks like Ember and potentially William there in the back. Actually, no, that was Flappy Cat shot there coming up there from the end. Ember's just got to play damage. Excuse me, Awoken's got to play damage control here.
Meanwhile, Flappy Cat, that shock leading them right to the lead here, trying to make their way up to the front. As you see, a lot of these players starting to make their way as well. We're starting to see Fallens, the Darrens, the William Crees make their way up to the top of the field. And meanwhile, a lot of people starting to take that shortcut. One of them is Awoken, who's now leading the field as the swoop here, trying to make that advantage and get themselves to the front here. Big J using that golden mushroom to their advantage, going all the way across that corner as tight as they can. But the final lap has now begun on Choco Mountain. William Cree has Awoken in their sights, ready to pounce. They both take the cut. William Cree and Awoken side by side on the final lap of Choco Mountain.
Oh, you saw there that Williams trying to set up Awoken there with that green. And now the question becomes, there is a bit of a gap between these top two, and these are the top two controlling the tournament. Is anything going to happen to that first place finisher? Woken having to play a little bit of defense there in the back. Williams building a little bit of a gap, having to go wide there for that rolling block. As whoa, it looks like Fallen came out of the woodworks there, but Woken maintains their line, and it's going to be all William here taking the win here on Choco Mountain.
Oh, and Awoken gets hit by the red shell. It skips Fallen. Fallen now up to second place. Awoken needing to try to preserve that position. They fall back to fourth, I believe.
Yeah,
because
Ember.
of no, they get third. Okay, they get third.
Where did Ember go? Ember got fourth. Ember
okay.
was getting up there, and I thought Ember was going to pass them too.
Yeah, I thought Ember was past them, especially with the character icons.
It got me.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, Awoken able to preserve a nice third place, get 69 points while in the meanwhiles, but I mean, definitely that pass from Fallen definitely made a little bit of a difference, because again, that's a couple more points that you lose at the end of that. So
yeah, Flappy Cat and Val are tied. Darren is in 7th overall, so this is an unfortunate ending here for Darren, who is going to be dropping down some positions. I mean, I think Darren and Val, as we're going these final few races, they're going to be fighting for it, because there's a 20-point gap between Darren and Val. And Flappy Cat, the only issue was Flappy Cat didn't have the best first round. Val has 7 points over Flappy Cat overall, but there's still a battle here. We're in our final 2 races, or in our final race.
Final 2 races.
Yeah, final 2. So the door is open, I think, between Darren, Val, and Flappy Cat here. Ember has kind of positioned themselves to be in that third, fourth position there. We'll have to see. I think Fallen and Ember are kind of battling, and then Darren, Val, and Flappy Cat are in a battle as well.
Love to see as we head into our second to last race. Shy Guy Bazaar is the call here. And that was Darren's pick. Darren actually picking Shy Guy Bazaar.
Yeah, so Darren's at 36, Val's at 38, Flappy Cat's at 38, and Ember's at 50. So basically, Darren is going to be going in at 98. Ember is going in at 102. So battle between Ember and Darren. And then Val is going to be at 81. So, yeah, so Darren still has a little bit of a lead here in a battle with Ember, though, in this race for fourth place.
We head into Shy Guy Bazaar, another track that has basically had a complete makeover. There are new shortcuts galore on this track.
No.
Yeah, that would have been one of them, but
it happened early. It happened early. Good time
least,
for
yeah,
Awoken to
first
recover.
lap, first turn. You don't have to worry about it. You're fine if you're Awoken. Just have to, remember that happened next time. If it happens on the third lap, then we'd probably be hearing Awoken in the background. But for now, it happened on the first lap. You just shrug it off. It happened. It's okay. You can do it next time. William Cree, however, reading out Fallen's green shell, and now he's going to be taking that lead and using one of those shortcuts. He's going to be taking this rail all the way to the right side and go up those ropes up on the right side.
Yeah, I definitely think, not to get ahead of ourselves here, that this Knockout Tour finale is going to come into play big time for some of our middle spot players. And now the question really becomes, if you're William, do you want to go aggressive here, or do you just want to maintain, that gap between yourself and Awoken? Awoken there in, that middle of the pack in that fourth position there, getting hit out by Ember and Val. And now we do see William opting to run there as the other Nabbit player, Flappy Cat, is going to be in 8th place. Actually, Flappy Cat switching over to Biddy Bug along with Fallen.
Yeah, I mean, Flappy Cat's been experimental with their character choices. I don't mind it at all. It definitely gives a spice of life. As for the spice of life for William Cree, well, they're in a pretty bad situation right now. Fallen right on their bumper. Final lap here on Shy Guy Bazaar. Awoken is back in the picture. It's Fallen, William Cree, Awoken, and Darren all at the front, separating from the rest of the pack. This could come down to these final couple items and these final couple moves. Awoken with the boomerang, missing the snipe. That could be crucial.
Yeah, but does William have any defense right now? That's
right. Oh,
Awoken
falls!
That is going to be huge. As the blue shell does come out, it will connect with Fallen as
and
William
passes, gets the
huge
lead
for
away.
William. This is huge for William. Darren able to squeak in. Late shock coming in. This is going to really affect the bottom half as Ember is going to take 3 positions from that shock. Flappy Cat going to be getting 6th. Big J 7th, Val 8th. And, you kind of want to wonder where Fallen's going to end up. 60 points for Fallen, 6 over Ember. Ooh, yeah, I think that there's still a battle for 3rd between all this. But now here's the thing. William, because of that race, 1 point ahead in this segment over Awoken. It's going to be a 15-point swing going into this last part.
Yep.
Is it possible with Knockout Tour? I think the jury's out.
We'll have to
Dave
see.
is nodding his head yes.
Dave's nodding his head. Anything could happen. We have adjusted the bonus percentages for Knockout Tour compared to the last tournament. So, yep. So you might have heard.
We do have one more race.
Yep,
I
we
think
still have one
I'm
more
jumping
race.
ahead of myself here.
Still have one more race, but you might have heard it from Dave's microphone over there. If you did not, Dave did say that the highest percentage you can get in Knockout Tour in the Knockout Tour bonus round is 60% of your points total. So anything could happen. One race will set the points before the Knockout Tour, and a lot of different track selections on the board, some of which we've already seen before, but we're going to be going over to Airship Fortress.
And we've seen this before.
Race. We have indeed. Last time we were here, it was, I believe, Awoken. It was either Awoken or William running away with it. Are they able to run away with it here today on the final race of this Grand Prix? After this, it's just the Knockout Tour, so every hand in your card comes in now. One last race to decide it all, and Williams burned out already.
So we'll see if that's part of the plan or not here, as it is going to be Awoken just going straight out to the lead. And, yeah, this is going to be pretty big for Awoken, wanting to either maintain that gap from the first segment or potentially even increasing it with a win here. I don't think Awoken has too much to lose, but obviously wants to rely less on the knockout portion here of the tournament. So let's see. Fallen now here in 2nd, and it is going to be William Cree there still in the back of the pack.
And Fallen trying to make their way up here. William Cree looking for any sort of good items right now. They could be trying to wait for a Bullet Bill, but right now, it's not looking good right now for William. Using that Golden Mushroom to get up to the rest of the pack. They don't want to be too far away, because if you're too far away, it's going to be hard to recover. Right now, it is, again, Awoken and Fallen leading the pack. Ember trying to come up right behind them, but it's looking rough if you're a William Cree fan right now, because right now, the one person you don't want in the lead is currently dominating this race.
That is true, and Fallen here really trying to play spoiler, and Fallen's in a little bit of a battle with Ember, and Ember is right on the tail of Fallen here. As, you know, a lot can happen here on this final race, and even going to the knockout portion for them, as really this is for the podium spot now that Darren is out of the picture.
Oh,
Blue in a shock, and Fallen gets taken off there by the shock as well. And Big J moving up, Darren up here as well too.
Awoken technically dodged that shock because they fell off the map to dodge the blue shell and were able to keep themselves alive. So Awoken in the best possible position, thanks in part to that blue shell. Final lap on Airship Fortress. It all comes down to this. Who's going to be making the moves at the last moment? Fallen in 3rd, Ember in 2nd, Awoken all the way up in 1st place. Meanwhile, William Cree struggling in
item
the second
screened
half
as
of the
well.
pack.
William Cree was item screened out of the 5th place box by Big J. So this is going to be a very difficult rally here for William, as Awoken clearly takes the win here and then extends that lead. The real question is, where is William going to finish, 4th or 5th? And it looks like William's going to be locking up 5th here off the screen.
Oh, they fell off the map before they were able to finish the race. They still lock up 6th, 5th.
They still kept 5th. That was risky, though.
Yeah. Flappy Cat was right behind them, so I was a little nervous about that. But there are your points totals. Awoken with a 4-point advantage over William in this set.
Yeah.
meaning in total
20
a
points.
20-point advantage to Awoken.
Yeah, so we're going to have to connect here on this final segment here. Awoken's in a very good position, has a lot of cushion, and clearly has shown that she can really dominate from the front and from the back. So in a relatively good position for Knockout Tour. It's not over yet, but, the odds are definitely in Awoken's favor.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely is a good showing right now for Awoken, so it's going to be a matter of if they can pull off this knockout, if they can do better than William Cree in the Knockout Tour. As a reminder, we go back to the Summer Cup earlier. Awoken was one of the top 4 finishers in that Summer Cup Knockout Tour portion.
Yeah.
I don't remember where she finished, but she did finish in that top 4. She did finish second in the top 4.
Behind Dash, yeah.
Well, in the Knockout Tour portion, specifically.
I believe Awoken, was in the,
She was in the
in
top 4 in that Knockout Tour section. I don't remember where she finished in that top 4, but she did finish in the top 4 in the Knockout Tour section, I believe.
Correct.
Say again? Okay, so
Awoken
that's
did
already
win
a good sign for Awoken, considering that they won the Knockout Tour section of the Summer Cup. William Cree did not make it to the round of 12.
Yeah, and what you're seeing, too, on your screen, this is the round 2 results. So in the round 2 lobby, Awoken finishing first with 84, William Cree in second with 80, Fallen in third with 66, Ember in fourth with 61, Darren in fifth with 48, Flappy Cat in sixth with 43, beating over Val with 42, Big J there with 20. So now this is really going to change things overall, and this is what we're looking at going into our final knockout sudden death. Awoken with 20 points over William, Fallen in a semi-comfortable third, but again, Ember's only 13 points behind, even a less of a margin between Awoken and William, with Ember and Darren still kind of in the mix there. Big battle there for 4th and 5th, and a battle for 6th and 7th as well between Val and Flappy Cat. So this is going to really change a lot of positions and open up this tournament quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Knight, but I'm looking at that third place matchup because, as a reminder, we do have trophies for the top 3. Considering that third place matchup is the closest, only one of them can earn the Shadow Cup here today. Our third place Grand Prix Cup winner. We do also have a second place trophy right over here. This is the trophy that second place will be earning here for the championship, and of course, we have our beautiful gold trophy for the winner of the New England Winter Cup, the Grand Prix champion. We also have 3 trophies for the Knockout Tour we'll be giving out as we head into the Knockout Tour tournament right afterward. So,
super exciting. What's that?
Oh, yeah. So
we got him here.
As we're going into the final section, this means that we can talk about the percentage. So, like I said, the percentage, your finishing position in the Knockout Tour determines a percentage that is added, that is given to your score. So, for example, if you scored 5 points and you got 10%, you would get an extra. Actually, no, 10 points, 10%, 1 extra point. So in this case, for every position, it then goes up. For the first 6 positions, that's 24th to 18th, you only get a 10% increase on your position. If you get 17th through 15th, it is a 15-point increase. 14th gets 20, 13 gets 22, 12 gets 25, 11 gets 28, 10 gets 30. 9th gets 32, 8 gets 35, 7th gets 38, as does 6th. 5th gets 40% of the point total added. 4th gets 45% of the point total added. 3rd gets 50%. 2nd, 55%, and 1st, 60% of their points added to their total.
So my mind was racing because I'm an analytics major here. So there's good news and bad news. The good news is that the tournament's not over, by any means. So that is something to be aware of. The not necessarily bad news, but the news that you need to keep in mind is that the bonuses at 60%. If we did have like a full 24-player lobby, it's going to be massive because there is a 50 percentage point swing based off of your score. So again, that throws a whole nother layer into the mix between 1st and 24th. Now, this is the interesting thing is, let's get confirmation from Dave. Is your point total going to be based off of where you finish, even including the bot? So if I got 24th in this lobby, I would only get 10%. Ooh, okay, that opens the door big time. Because if it was just where you were ranked in the lobby, there's only about a 25 percentage point swing based off of what your total points were, if that makes sense. But now you really have to perform because, when we're looking at, 177 points, 157 points, like 50% of that is going to be closer to 80, roughly 80 points. And if you only have a 20-point swing, you got to be finishing pretty darn close, if not ahead of the player that's classified ahead of you after these 24 races.
Absolutely. As we're starting to get into the Knockout Tour section, again, for those who are not unfamiliar with Knockout Tour, it's a brand new mode added into Mario Kart World. You race from one end of the map to the other, with a 6-lap stretch. At every lap, 4 drivers are eliminated. So you start with 24, then you go to 20, 16, 18, 16, 16, 12, 8, and then the final 4 waste 1 lap around the destination track. And we're going over to quite possibly my favorite Knockout Tour. It's the Moon Rally.
And this is the thing. It is going to be a full 24-player lobby with 16 computer players and our 8 human players here in Plainville, Massachusetts at 1UP Games. Really cool venue, by the way. I just love it because this is like where I grew up, I could never experience it before coming back home because I left in 2017. But here we go. The real key is to stay alive.
Yep. So, I mean, we've talked about, of course, the essence of bagging in the original tracks. But the thing about bagging in those tracks is that you can stay in the back for every single lap, no problem, then make your way on the final stretch. It's much harder to do that here because, of course, if you try to bag and you bag too much, you're out first round.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful about how much you bag here. We already see Awoken going for that bagging strat. William Cree going to try to go for the front run strat. So we'll see who's going to be able to get the advantage, but William Cree going to be trying to drag out the player behind him with that.
And this is a relatively short first section as well. So we'll have to see if all 8 of our human players are going to be able to make it here and survive this opening leg.
Ember currently in 21st. As a reminder, the first checkpoint, 20 players will make it through. 4 players will get eliminated here. Ember's going to be using that Mega Mushroom to make their way up here through the pack, but it's going to be a matter of, again, you also need to consider the computer players. You're not up against all 24 human players. You are playing against computer players, and that means that there is so much uncertainty.
And they'll displace you. They'll displace you for some big point 100%. Percentages as well. Like, you need to really finish in the top 17 here overall to even get a bonus beyond that initial 10%.
As we head into Toad's Factory here, Blue Shell is going to be hit. I don't know who that was hit onto. I don't know if it was a player or not, but still, the players making their way into Toad's Factory here. Thankfully, as it looks like every single one of our players is still in the game.
Flappy Cat's got to move, though.
Yeah, he's good. No worries. Flappy Cat is safe here as we head into Toad's Factory here for the second section, making our way over to Moo Moo Meadows.
It's a very late hit at the beginning of the second leg, but yeah, here we go. You got to be in the top 16 now, and there is a little bit more time on this second section. So we will have to see what happens there as Val in the mix. So the good news is that everybody here, assuming that they can make it in this next round, are going to get more than that 10% bonus. So that's going to be good. If everybody can get through, they all work a little bit together, and beating up the computer players, there will be some bonus totals heading the players' way.
And you talked about how short that last section was. Look at how long this section is.
Yeah,
as a reminder, we are just getting out of the factory now, making our way through to the streets of Moo Moo Meadows, and we have to go through this giant field area. Definitely one of the longer routes in all of Knockout Tour. There are probably some longer ones, but this is one of the longer sections. As we see some of these players, especially with the mushrooms, making their way up. Fallen currently leads the field here with the Parabiddy Bud. And something you're going to see a lot of, especially as we get into these later stages, you're going to start seeing some players not really try to go for the front moves. Like, for example, if you have triple red shells and you're saying, like, 3rd place, if the cutout point is at 4th, most players won't tend to go forward with those red shells. They'll instead go for the strategy of back spamming, because you're keeping yourself safe and keeping yourself defensive instead of going for aggressive and potentially risking your run.
And we'll have to see what's going to play out here as we are coming up to the home stretch of this second checkpoint. It looks like everybody is in a little bit of a good position. Flappy Cat, though, in 10th. He's the lowest ranked human player. As he's, you can tell he's moving up quickly right away. Doesn't look like there's any issues here with any players.
William Cree does get hit right before the line. Thankfully, though, it looks like they are safe. All of our 8 players are still in the running. Ember was actually the farthest finishing player of all of those. 10th place for Ember on that run. Unfortunately for Val, has the lead right now, but is going to be losing it immediately, thanks in part to that blue shell here. But now it's on the road from Moo Moo Meadows to Dandelion Depths. This is another section with a lot of those very high off-road sections. especially as we get towards Dandelion Depths and head into the hills. There's a lot of opportunities to use these mushrooms to your advantage. So we'll have to see who's going to pull the right items and who's going to be able to make it work.
A lot of carnage, a lot of footballs here before Super Bowl Sunday next week. As we can see, the lead doesn't really matter too much right now, but Fallen is in first place for the time being. Big J opting to get a little bit of food and a little bit of turbo boost, but hitting the truck as they go. Remember, 12th place and on is going to qualify you for the next round, and that's just really, after this leg, is where we're really going to start seeing some of these human players start to fall. So hopefully everybody can make it through. It's going to be a little bit hard to get to the finish this time, but it's going to be even incrementally harder going into the next round.
Big J, meanwhile, trying to catch up right now, right on that bubble of 12th place, while the rest of the field is getting hit right in front of them. That's what they want to see. You want to see chaos in front of you sometimes, because that means you have a great opportunity to pass. Now Big J trying to make their way up, unfortunately hitting some cars, but there's a lightning bolt right at the wrong time. Val going to be able to use some mushrooms to get their way up to the front here, and Big J right on the border. Currently the last player right behind them, though, is Fallen, who's currently in 11th. Big J right on the border. Can they keep this position and find their way to the next round? There's a Birdo to their inside. They hit them with the golden shell, and just barely by the skin of their teeth, Big J is in, along with all 7 of our other players.
So all of them in the top 12, and this is where it does become a little bit bad, because everybody is still in it, meaning that there's only going to be a 35 percentage point swing between the first player now, and if a player does happen to get, 12th here, for instance. So you really got to be aware of those players that have finished close to you. If you're battling for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, there tends to be a lot of battles in those mid spots. And like you said, Bowsy, there is a trophy on the line for 3rd here. Does that come into play? Do the players know who they need to target? Because the time for that is now. And really, we are in the back half of this leg of the knockout tour, so a lot can happen here. And the tournament's on the line right now.
Yep, everything is on the line right now. The second half of this section. This is one of the shorter sections in knockout tour altogether. It all comes down to this. Can you pull the right item? William Cree pulling a bullet bill out of nowhere right up to second place, but is it going to be enough? The rest of the field chasing up to that line right at the edge of the waterfall. Val getting hit by the super
Oh, no, that's
not
it
be
for
enough
Val.
for Val. Val is going to be eliminated. So's Big J, and so is Darren. One of the top 3 contenders out of the running at Cheap Cheap Falls.
Yeah, Darren, Big J, and Val, 5 players out here. And there's, 5 players left, 3 players out, 8 total racers on the track. So there are a few bots in here, and you do need to make it into the top 4. Are the odds that we're going to have a human top 4? Likely, I think so, but this is a little bit of a longer stretch here to let things kind of settle back and play out.
Yep, this route from Cheap Cheap Falls to Faraway Oasis is one of the longer stretches, so it could come down to anything here. Ember, unfortunately, getting hit by that boomerang, but is in 8th place, has the best chance of being able to catch up. Right now, it's familiar territory toward the top. Awoken is first. William Cree is second. Anything could happen here. Flappy Cat making their way up here with a golden mushroom. Going to be able to take this shortcut over here with that Mario and the B-Dash. We're looking straight out of Mario Kart DS with that combination. But still, right now, it's just all of these players trying to fight their way forward, Fallen with the red shell. And again, we talk about it. Top 4. Right now, Fallen is out of the bubble. We talked about this the 3rd place contenders. Fallen, Ember, and Darren. Darren's now already out, so now it's just between Fallen and Ember to try and get that multiplier at the most capacity, with only this final turn remaining to get into Faraway Oasis.
Yeah, right now it's Awoken versus William, Flappy Cat versus Val, and Fallen versus Ember, but only 4 can move on here out of the 5 human players and the 3 bots. How is it gonna look?
It's the final quarter. Here comes Fallen. Ember, and Awoken gets hit. Awoken gets hit at the worst time. In the middle of the shortcut, Awoken currently
Awoken's not
gonna get
make
passed
it.
by Flappy Cat. Awoken is out. Fallen is now in the lead, and now there's a chance for William Cree to take this lead away in the knockout tour.
Yeah, I think unofficially, Awoken got 5th, so she's going to end up with unofficially 40%.
Yep.
If she got 5th, and I believe she did.
We still have a race on our hands, though. It's the final lap around Faraway Oasis. Flappy Cat in 4th place.
But Fallen and Ember are fighting for a trophy here.
Ember and Fallen battling. William also battling for the lead. Fallen with a blue shell in hand. Gonna force William to use that mushroom before the final quarter. It all comes down to this last corner. Who has a shroom?
William needs to win this.
William right out front. Takes the boost, takes the lead, takes the coin away.
Flappy Cat second, though.
Wins.
That's a huge jump for Flappy Cat, but could it be enough? That's 55%.
55% for Flappy Cat with a second-place finish in that knockout tour. William first, Fallen third, and Ember gets fourth place. That hit onto Awoken in the off-road might have just determined this championship.
Oh, man.
It is going to come down to the wire.
I think Dave's done this before, but at least in the universe of the cups here in Plainville at One Up Games, this is the second iteration of this. So we're going to see what happens. Ember gets a 45% bonus. I'm not going to read the numbers. We're going to,
we'll find out as we go along here. We're waiting for
Fallen gets a 50%.
Yeah, we're going to wait for the official standings to come up.
Yeah, I'm not listing scores.
Here.
I want to list the percentages. Yeah, Val finishing 11th, 28%. William obviously first, getting the full 60. Darren 10th, getting 30. So there could be some swings here. Big J 9th. Flappy Cat with that 55% second place bonus. That's a huge run for Flappy Cat to end things off. And Awoken with 5th, getting, I believe that was 40%.
40%, I believe. Yes. Well,
we'll have to see what happens here. We'll have to see. Are the percentages enough, right? Because William was 20 points down on Awoken, but, you're talking like 60% of 157 versus, whatever the percentage Awoken got of that 177, right? That 30 to 40. I think we're going to see something crazy, but we'll have to wait till everything's official.
Yep, we're waiting for the graphics to get
And I'm curious, too, about these sub-battles as well. I can only see like a little bit, and I can't really. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Let's put
so Fallen beating Ember, that is huge. That likely did lock it up there for Fallen. I think we can all somewhat agree on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure Fallen was in the lead.
Fallen
in
got
that section.
May have gotten a Yeah. I think there's some heart attacks happening here as we're waiting.
It is going to be, I mean, we talked about it. It was going to be super close.
I played the fifth. I saw what I saw.
We officially have the standings for the New England Winter Cup Grand Prix.
Clench your butts,
the
everybody.
Winner is William Cree with a 3-point advantage, thanks in part to that knockout tour. 251 points to Awoken's 248 total. Thanks in part to the knockout tour multiplier.
Yeah, that was an absolutely wild end. I will say this format is pretty hype. If I was Awoken right now, obviously you're going to be feeling some type of way. Totally understandable. But this is an incredible finish. Fallen able to hold on there for third. I think the third and fourth place battle points-wise doesn't actually do how close it was justice. But because of the extra bonus there for Fallen with Knockout Tour, solidified that third place. Very well done.
Yep, absolutely. And we have the winner coming over here, Mr. William Cree, coming in here. Going to be doing an interview with him here in a
take
second.
my spot. Take my spot.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we'll get you a seat. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yep. Night get up.
I gotta moderate. I gotta ban this viewer from the channel. Anyway.
Yep.
You're good. Congratulations. That was
well, William Cree, my friend.
Whoa. Okay. Whew.
Well, congratulations, my friend. The winner of the New England Winter Cup. You came in the summer, got third place. You come back for redemption here today. First off, how does it feel to be able to win the Winter Cup here today?
Dude, I'm going to be so honest with you right now. I was shaking that entire last section. Like, I hear you screaming like, Awoken gets hit, Awoken gets hit. I'm like, oh, God.
I mean, of course, the intensity is there because you knew that was on the line with that knockout tour because you were so close with Awoken the entire tournament. When entering that knockout tour, what was going through your mind, obviously? Because 20-point deficit, you knew you had to do better than Awoken in that knockout tour to get the win. What was going through your mind as you were heading into there?
To be quite honest, I didn't even know how big the multipliers were. I know that they got adjusted since Summer Cup, but I was like, it couldn't have been that big of an adjustment. Maybe I have to, knock her out in Section 3, so I was trying to find, an opportunity to do that then, but I was just getting beat up by all the CPUs. So I see, the second to last section, and right before we get to Faraway Oasis, I'm like, oh, I have triple greens. I have a shroom. Let's go now. But I was, debating, doing it, do I want to wait until I cross the line? I'm like, no, I want to get her out now. It was a whole lot going through my head. I'm like, screw it, just go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the sort of mentality you have in those sort of situations. Talk me through as well the rest of the Grand Prix, because obviously you started off this entire tournament with a bang. You started winning race after race, getting very top finishes, but then you started hitting that little down peak. Awoken started coming back up. What were you thinking about heading, especially like in the second half of the first Grand Prix and the second Grand Prix, like what were you trying to think to yourself? Like, what were you trying to like say to yourself to try and get yourself back in the momentum to get yourself up to the front again?
Honestly, just take it one race at a time. You know, like, hey, I might get beaten by like 7 red shells one race, like what happened the entirety of that like second half of the first Grand Prix. I'm like, you know what? It's fine. Just go one race at a time. I'll get there eventually, even if I have to come back from down big. Like, I knew I was capable of doing it. I'm like, okay, Faraway Oasis is one of the end of the knockouts. I'm good on Faraway. Just get to that point. And, yeah.
There you go. Well, there you have it. The champion, William Prix, here for the Winter Cup. And for you, my friend, I have this beautiful trophy, the 2026 New England Winter Cup champion here at 1UP Games. Congratulations again, William Prix, on the championship for the New England Winter Cup.
Thank you very much. This was awesome. I can't wait to come back in a couple months for spring, summer, whatever. And hey, maybe run it back.
Maybe. We'll have to see. Can William Prix defend his title? We'll find out in a couple months. But
oh yeah, that's right. Knockout.
Oh yeah, we also have a knockout tour. Yeah.
Do I take both of them? Like, what do I do now?
No, we have it's a different tournament. We still haven't determined that one yet, but you do at least get the Grand Prix trophy. So, you know, 1 gold trophy added to your lineup.
Yep.
But yeah, so congratulations again on the championship here. Yep. So, Fallen. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do we want to give Fallen a spot to sit down?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't mind giving Fallen a spot to sit.
Absolutely.
So,
damn, all right.
yep. Come on in, Fallen. Congratulations on your 3rd place victory here in the New England Winter Cup. Coming all the way in from DC, how does it feel to be able to come up to the New England and show these people what they're made of?
Oh my God, it's been so hard. I've been trying to go to a tournament for 6 months, and things just keep getting canceled and stuff. And all the just transportation issues, it's crazy I was actually able to make it out here. And looks like all the time I spent fighting, trying to go to a LAN, it actually paid off.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a LAN is such a different experience. This was your first LAN, so tell me, for a first LAN experience, what are your general thoughts? Like, did you enjoy it? Do you think you'd be doing more in the future, or?
Well, I've been to a whole bunch of LANs before.
Oh, okay.
I was at MomoCon.
Okay. Fair
Yeah,
enough,
I won Sky League.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. Fair enough. So.
Yeah. So it was my first LAN on this game, so.
Yeah. Well, yeah. First LAN
crazy.
for Mario Kart World. So.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, first LAN for Mario Kart World. You've been playing the game probably since release or sometime close, hopefully. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts about like your first LAN in Mario Kart World? Does it feel any different than what you had before, or?
I feel like overall the energy still feels the same. The only difference is it's different game, different line, different tech, different item management, all of that. But it's the same mentality as 8 Deluxe for me.
Fair. I mean, yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's a pretty similar game, so I can get that sort of feeling. Take me through entering into the knockout tour. You were in a 3-way battle between Ember and Darren for that top spot. What was going through for that 3rd spot, I should say. What was going through your mind heading into the knockout tour? What were you trying to say to yourself to get ready for the knockout tour, knowing that you could potentially, knowing that you were in such a tight competition for 3rd place?
Yeah, it was just, for the first half of it, I was thinking I just have to stay in and beat all the CPUs, because that's what's going to matter the most. I remember it not being a whole lot, but it was at least a little bit of a gap between 3rd and 4th place. So the first half, just stay in it. In the second half, stay ahead of Darren, stay ahead of Ember, and win.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a good mentality to have, because obviously you have to consider those CPUs at the end of the day. So really good mentality overall, but that is going to do it. Congratulations again on your 3rd place. And now I present to you the 2026 New England Winter Cup 3rd place trophy. It's a little bit heavy. I mean, I'm kind of surprised with how heavy the base is. So.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome. Congratulations again, and we hope to see you in future tournaments in the New England area or in general in the Mario Kart World scene. So.
Yeah, I'll be in Illinois, so hope to see some of these people here.
So Peoria, you're coming to PeoriaCon. So.
Sure am.
Well, it'll be interesting to see in a couple months for PeoriaCon. We'll see if you're able to keep up the reign and try to hopefully you get even better than 3rd place up there. So once again, congratulations though on your New England Winter Cup placement.
Thank you.
All right, Woken, are you ready? Are you wanting to do an interview? All righty. And let's bring up Awoken here for our final interview spot here. Our 2nd place finisher here, Awoken. congratulations again on a pretty good run. I know second place can be hard, but how are you feeling overall about the tournament?
I mean, that's Mario Kart. You know,
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't bounce your way, and it's about how you deal with it. And I mean, I feel like I did everything in my power, and I mean, Will clutched up when it mattered.
Yeah, definitely. Talk me through like your thoughts about the GP. Obviously, at the beginning of the GP, Will was starting to really make a run out, but you started to really bounce back. Tell me through like what was your thoughts about heading into all of those races there?
I mean, again, you just got to play it race by race. You can't. The most important thing I've learned, because in my history in this game, I've been playing this game for 6 years, 8 Deluxe and World. The most important thing is to play race by race and make sure that you're not letting what happened last race affect your mental going forward, because you can spiral really quickly if things start to go wrong, especially if they're out of your control. I actually learned this through time trialing, but it applies even more so in online play. If you're doing everything that you can do to win, then that's the most important thing, because sometimes you just get unlucky. Mario Kart is not, you know, one-to-one, everything's always the same in a vacuum type of game, you know?
Yeah, I mean, luck can play a big factor on it, especially when it came to that knockout tour section. It seemed like you had everything right, but just unfortunate luck there toward the end.
Well,
so.
I that's not to discredit Will at all. I mean,
No,
obviously he's a fantastic player. And I mean, there were points. I mean, it was a 3-point gap. I could have made up those 3 points on any single race. I mean, you watched me fall off on Shy Guy Bazaar.
Right.
If I don't fall off on Shy Guy Bazaar, I win the tournament.
Right.
If I don't fall off on Shy Guy Bazaar, I win the tournament. Oh, God. If I don't fall off on Great Crushing Block Ruins, I win the tournament. There's 2 mistakes right there I can point to.
Yeah,
it was not all the game. It was definitely on me as well, and it's a learning experience.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Mario Kart, again, anything can happen. One small thing could spiral into others, but you know what? At the end of the day, a second place is still a second place. You were at the top half of everybody in the tournament. So, but my last question for you is: you said you really enjoyed Knockout Tour in the Summer Cup. Do you still enjoy the Knockout Tour section after today?
I do. Yeah. I mean, if you talked to me after Jumpstart out in Ohio, I would have given a very different answer. But that was when it was still ingrained in my brain. I was trying to convince myself that Knockout Tour was a running game mode. It's not.
No.
I don't know if the POV was on me at the beginning, but you saw me slow down all the way into last at the very beginning to just get up items, because that's how you win in that mode. And like that's ultimately why I lost just now, because I didn't position myself well enough for the ending cut there. I only brought up a dash food and a shroom into that massive shortcut, and I got passed by someone with a golden mushroom. They set themselves up better. That's how it goes.
Yeah. So
I've learned a lot. I mean, we're about to play the actual knockouts, so hopefully that doesn't happen to me again. Hopefully I play a little better this time. But yeah.
Yep. But regardless of which, again, congratulations on your second place. And for you, I have the final of the Grand Prix trophies, the 2026 New England Winter Cup Grand Prix second place.
It is heavier than the summer one. You're right.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I don't know.
But, I mean, I have 2 of these now.
But you know what? That gives you the courage that gives you the
I need
push.
One of those.
Yep. That gives you the push in the Knockout Tour and in spring or summer.
I can what now? I would rather earn it.
Yeah. Listen, that gives you the push not only to get it for the Knockout Tour, but to do it in spring and summer.
Spring
as
Cup,
well.
summer.
So,
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, for now though, congratulations on your second place, and good luck in the Knockout Tour tournament, because we still have that coming up next.
Thank you so much.
And with that being said, now that all of our winners have been interviewed for the Grand Prix Cup, we're going to jump to a quick break. But when we come back, it is time for the inaugural New England Winter Cup Knockout Tournament. Okay, well, we'll be a bit, but when we come back after a bit, we'll be here with the New England Winter Cup Knockout Tour Tournament, so don't go anywhere. More action here from One Up Games for the New England Winter Cup is coming up right after the break.